Testing, testing. Well, well, well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a wonderful stream. Starting with shout out to Idora Park, my man, Kevin himself. Thank you very much, man. It's resubbing for I believe that says 6 months. Young Squad, he says. Thank you very much for starting off the stream with money. Oh my God. We made some money. Yes. Obviously, support is more enjoyable, so thank you very much. Mustafa's in the chat as well. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, I think I missed a few. Wow, it's so cool when you guys are here before me. Kavaitsu with the epic, one of my OG emotes as well, as an OG follower. Hello, Kavai. And Mustafa's in the chat. Thank you, Mustafa, for being that one loyal kick viewer. Actually, no, we got 2 of you guys today. Oh, nice. Well, welcome. Mustafa, thank you very much. You said, yo, what's up, dude? Not much. Everything is good. Happy Monday. Happy 129th day of streaming to me. So yeah, all the fun stuff. Kevin's got an exclamation mark glasses. I don't know what that does. You know, I took a pause from finding ways to keep improving my stream quality in terms of like the entertaining stuff and the cool things. That's probably the smart thing to do because I need to just kind of get my foundational roots built up first. But I'm excited to continue exploring, like, what are the things that I could do to keep spicing up what we've got going. So, including new commands or different little things. I was watching someone stream the other day, just earlier, and they had a little fox pet that shows up in the corner of their overlay, and people can feed it. They can water the fox, you know, using the Twitch channel points and stuff like that. I was like, what? I did find something on Etsy where you're able to have different pets and then they show up. I think it's all ready. I just forgot what the freaking command was to get it to show up. Let's see. If I type spawn, was that the thing? Oh, it was exclamation mark spawn. Okay, see, now a little cat thing shows up, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I forgot exactly how to use this guy. There were some other commands built in, but I think if I can incorporate it into the Twitch channel points, that makes a lot more sense, right? Oh, what? Wait, where did this fox come from? Did someone do that? Oh, Kevin did that by doing exclamation mark spawn. No shot. Wait, no, that's not a dog, is it? It's on a small screen. Is that like one of those Shibas? What? Wait, how come? How is this happening? Okay, okay, so Kavai's got a little robotic looking cat thing. I'm watching my stream on a tiny little screen here, so I could be completely wrong. Oh man, well, little did I know I had this thing this whole time, and I've been underutilizing it. The point is clear, right? We're watching it in real time. I need to continue finding ways to make the stream enjoyable for you guys, engaging, all the right words to describe what a stream should be. Including these like little pet things that I clearly need to do a bit more research on. Okay, so there was definitely an exclamation mark spawn, and I feel like I should probably look into this a bit further. I know there were other commands, and I don't know if I added that. Fed says coming in a little bit low today. Oh wait, hold on. Are you talking about the microphone or just energy level? It can't be the energy level. I'm on cloud 9 right now. But I did play around with the mics and stuff, so there's a chance I might have messed something up here. Give me a second. Let's also start to test everything. Hello. Okay. Okay, so I think maybe I need to lift this guy up a bit. I hear you. It's just a bit lower than usual. New lamp is cozy. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know what? Where are my cats? My cats all just dipped out on me. We got a little. Who needs cats when I got these real cats? Okay. This is Nala now, the replacement for Nala, and then oh yeah, wait. Why is this so? Oh, I forgot to turn on one of the lights. That's why it looks so cozy. Wait, is it better without the light? Let me see. I mean, this looks a bit nice, because obviously the glowiness of the cat lamp, but I do need to turn on one of these lights I forgot to do. Hold on. And then I need to figure out this mic situation. Okay, I think it doesn't take away from this setup here. And then let's check out the other one again. Yeah, this one's much better. But sadly, neither of my cats have shown up today. What can you do? But we've got the little toy cat over there in the corner, and we got our cat lamp, so this will do. But Fed did say, hold on, Coney, oh yeah, so you said it's going a bit low. I gotta figure this out real quick. Tamagotchi gang? Yes, Kevin. Kevin, it's been a while, I think, or it's been a while since I chatted with you. Hopefully all is well in your corner of the world, wherever you are. I forget where you said you are, but either way, thanks for being here, my friend. 6 months. Man, we've been streaming. We've been streaming. How do I update the microphone situation again? Maybe if I go into Rodecaster app. Just boost it 3 to 6 dB. Yeah, I guess I could just lift it from here. Give me a second. But the ideal situation is I need to... Oh, okay, hold on. I can just lift it from here and then just turn down the... Hold on. Okay, testing, testing. Did that do anything? I'm assuming the music went up, but I can drop the music on my end. Should probably drop the music until it's like... I think around like 40. Oh wait, hold on, that was the end of a song. Let's play a new song. Just boosted 3 to 6 dB. I swear I didn't do anything different this time though. So right now, hopefully you guys can hear music gets louder. Yeah, I lifted in the Rodecaster, like I used one of the dials, and that just like lifts everything, which I assume it would also lift my microphone. And then I'm just dropping the volume of the music in the actual media player. Kevin says, just wanted to stop by. I just woke up, so you may or may not see me in the chat again. Hey, man, I appreciate you being here. Thank you again for resubbing, my friend. I appreciate it. Just woke up, so what is it? That must mean you're West Coast, yeah? So good morning to you, my friend. It is now 7:30 p.m., almost 7:30 p.m. my time. But obviously, it's good to see you, man. All right, here we go. USB. Here, I can do it from here. So combo 1 is my microphone, so let's lift it here. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. La, 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 la. Oh, and then it's capped. I think I capped it within OBS, but that's probably for the best. So basically, I've lifted up the microphone by 3 decibels. And then the USB thing, let's drop that down a bit. Okay. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Hello, hello. You said probably need 6 dB at least. I think the issue, or I say issue, but I think it's just that it's capped on the OBS side so that it won't clip. And then in the Rodecaster side, I've already increased it by 3 dB. So even if I lift it even more, so let's say if I lift it to 6 dB, actually that's the maximum I can lift over there. So I've lifted it to 6, but it's still capped on the OBS side. But I guess maybe hopefully this will mean you'll hear me more loudly more often. So yeah, because it doesn't really change. Yeah, I think, but the thing is then that means something might be on your end, Fed. It could be on your end. Because I haven't changed any of the OBS audio settings in months, ever since I set it up a while ago. So, But hopefully for everyone else, I don't know. I don't know if any changes were made. I'm just like moving dials around here and there, you know, sliding things. My end, it's the same as it always is. What to do? What to do? I don't have a good answer for you, man. Because I'm struggling. I'm failing here. I mean, I guess... I mean, how quiet are we talking about? Because over on my end, it's showing that I'm talking pretty loudly. Like, at this point, my voice is hovering around negative like 15 to negative 20 dB, something like that. Testing. Well, as long as you can hear me, and then it sounds like maybe there's a few things I should probably take care of afterwards here. It must be the overall volume then. All right, well, listen, sometimes you just gotta live with the decisions that, you know, you've got in front of you. So welcome, guys. Happy Monday. It is 129, day 129 of my streaming journey, which has been very fun, I will say. And yeah, today's gonna be, let's see, it's around 7:30 p.m. My aim is to go maybe about 3 to 4 hours. You know, it's been a while, but there was a time back in the early days where I was streaming like 7 to 9 hours every single day, which was very fun, by the way. And that was like one of the best ways, like it was a crash course for me in terms of learning how to stream and all that fun stuff. And I still haven't decided, I haven't figured out if it makes sense to continue doing those types of streams. Like, does it make sense to, it's like quality over quantity, I guess, in some senses, but it's also just trying to find that balance of like, how do I do my work stuff and then how do I do my stream work stuff. And so right now I've been landing on roughly 3 to 4 hours might be a good stream duration, or hopefully, you know, we have a really fun, condensed, engaging stream. But if I have like an 8-hour stream, my concern will come into like feeling this, you know, it's going to push up against my other work that I need to get done. And I'm definitely not going to be as productive on these streams. So it's like, it's just one of those things like, okay, what is the optimal streaming time? So right now I'm testing maybe if I stream around 7 p.m. my time in Dubai. So basically we started about 30 minutes ago, I think. 20 minutes ago. And then if I go until what, like 10 p.m. my time, that would be 3 hours, or maybe even like 11 p.m. my time, somewhere around there. I feel like that's a solid chunk of stream. And then that should give me enough time to hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully start to drift off to sleep eventually. So it does help a lot when you're near the mic. Okay. Yeah, because I think the thing is I don't want to be this close, right? I don't think that's probably correct. So I feel like realistically I should be talking maybe about this distance, I think. Man, I don't know. I'm not an audiophile. That's like one of out of everything. I think my understanding of audio technology and like mixing and all that stuff, that's probably the weakest of everything for me. So it's definitely something I need to put more time into. All right, so today's stream, we will be doing a mix of, let me start opening up these things before we get started. We're going to do a mix of photo editing and video editing, as per usual, right? You know, no shocker to you guys. But yeah, we're going to start with maybe I'll do watch some YouTube videos just to warm myself up and do some photo edits. And then I really want to start cracking into this Mongolia video that we've been sitting on, you know? So give me a second here as I open up DaVinci and Lightroom. A few other quick updates for you guys. 2 of the trips that I've been kind of alluding to, I haven't really gotten deep into it yet with you guys on stream. 2 of these potential projects that I mentioned to you guys that's coming up in the next 2 months, I did get the green light for it, which is great news. I mean, super excited. You know, but you know what? I'm one of those types where I'm very skeptical. I've been so disappointed in my life. I've had many moments of disappointment where you get super hyped up about something and then something always inevitably crashes everything down. So even though the green light is there, I won't really feel certain that the project's on until I'm actually on site filming or whatever, right? But the key thing I wanted to point out as good news is it seems like 2 of the projects that were big TBDs where if the green light came across, these are like very exciting projects that I'll be a part of, where, yeah, it's good, rewarding experience, but also something that helps to expand my resume. I say resume, but like expand my, I don't know what the right word would be. It would just help build up my craft, and it gets me more into this kind of filmmaking space. It gets me more in, hopefully, on the radar for big companies or people who might want to work with me, because this is like a credible, accredited, is that the right word? A reputable company that I'll be working with. So, and I apologize, I'm being very vague because technically I don't know to what extent I can speak about it just yet. And plus, I mentioned again, I'm very skeptical until I'm there. But 2 of those projects, as I mentioned, they have been greenlit. I have further conversations throughout this week to just kind of dot the I's and all that, and make sure, all logistically speaking, everything is good to go. But you'll hear more about it soon, because these are projects that will happen in the next couple months. But I'm super excited, super excited. These are, yeah, man, it kind of sucks because one of them for sure I can't really speak on yet. Another one I can speak on it. It's just a matter of yeah, actually, okay. Let me talk through one of them. While it hasn't fully, it's not like it seems to be greenlit on paper via emails and all that, but it sounds like there's going to be a couple workshops that I'll be running in April, right after my photo tour. So I have a photo tour beginning middle of April, and literally right after that, it seems like I'll be flying from Uganda to a different country to teach. I'll be basically like an instructor teaching a number of safari guides, like the top safari guides of this like luxury safari operating brand that works across multiple African countries. And they basically will hire me to train these guides on how to be a photographer. I did this last year, by the way. This is like a pilot that they reached out to me about. Fed says, I'm charting my filming route for filming some of the different Easter parades, Palm Sunday, Holy Thursday, and Good Friday, mainly using Google Earth for the Spain trip. Oh yeah, because you're going to be in the Holy Land, essentially, right? Man, you just said a bunch of words, though, I didn't know were a thing. I guess I didn't think about it. So you got Palm Sunday, Holy Thursday, and Good Friday. I guess I did know about Palm Sunday and Good Friday. I didn't know there was a Holy Thursday. I just knew Thirsty Thursday, Taco Tuesday, and then I guess there was something called Freaky Friday, but that was a movie, right? That's all I knew. But that sounds like a good idea, man. Fed, are you going to be doing like a film vlog style? Like, you do have that ZR. Are you going to be flipping it around doing selfie mode and showing you on like a traveling experience and making it more like a documentary style? Or is this all filming whatever's out there? But either way, I mean, man, Spain seems like a perfect place to get some really good content. In Spain, they have candlelit parade on Holy Thursday at night. Okay. Kavai says, that's great to hear, and with the clapping emo. Yes, thank you very much. Like I said, I probably just jinxed it by even just speaking about it out loud. But yeah, so very, very briefly, one of those trips, I did something last year in Tanzania. And so they had reached out to me through my connection with Nikon to see if I could be the instructor for, I think it was about a dozen or so of their top safari guides. So basically it was like, hey, in the off season, could you come and train our guides to understand the world of photography? And it may sound strange at first to be like, well, they're the guides, they're not photographers, right? They're not going to be taking photos when they're supposed to be, guiding for tourists. But the thing is, there's real value in teaching them photography because it helps you understand the mindset of your clients, right? If your clients are mostly tourists, and within those tourists, there's a lot of photographers, people who want to get the best shot of the lion or the elephant or leopard, cheetah, whatever it is, then the more you can understand the mindset of what that photographer wants, the better you can serve that client in a sense of understanding their needs and making sure they get the shots that they're hoping for, right? So it's one of those qualities that separates an excellent safari guide from an average or mediocre guide, is having one of those. And that's the ones that are also memorable, the ones that make you go like, I want to go back to this safari lodge and go with this particular guide because this person knew the language. He spoke my language. He knew about apertures and, you know, golden hour, and he knew about getting these kinds of like low angle shots or what the right positioning is to make sure when the animal is coming to get like a walking point of view shot, not like a side angle, you know, like things like that that seems a bit self explanatory perhaps for photographers, but it's one thing to like hear someone say it. It's another like when a bunch of these safari guides get to actually handle a big ass camera with a big ass lens and then try to take the photo themselves and see how difficult it is or see how easy it is. So it's like a really cool immersive experience, and it also gives these guides the opportunity to actually put on the, you know, be on the other side of things, be the photographer. And I think there's something about that I find also very gratifying and rewarding, because like these guides work extremely hard, right? They have a tough job, but they don't necessarily get to be the photographer all the time. And the irony is they're the best position to be the photographer, right? They live in the wild. So if only they had the gear that I have or other photographers have, they would be able to get some of the most incredible footage, photos of wildlife, way more than any one of like, you know, like a photographer like me visiting. So it is always this weird feeling of like, if those guides were equipped with cameras to be able to capture these moments, can you imagine? These guys should be the National Geographic photographers. These guys should be the ones that are like blowing up on TikTok or Instagram. But there's this knowledge gap. There's maybe a lack of confidence of thinking they can be a photographer, or there's a lack of resources not to be able to have the right gear to do that. So anyways, I'm personally very invested in this kind of a project. I think it's amazing that I get to be a part of hopefully teaching these guys a little bit more of capturing those footage, and yeah, maybe they can make a career out of it as well. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent there, but that's a big project. So like I said, sounds like we've been greenlit to go for a number of days where I'll be doing like a beginner and a more intermediate level workshop for some of the top guides as part of this Safari operating brand. So yeah, your boy's a teacher, an instructor, right? So it should be pretty fun. I'm very excited, but yeah, TBD. Fed says, I'm sure I will film some urban wildlife too, making more films like the street cats and the street cat shelters and squirrels and birds and stuff. Oh yeah, man, you should 100% do that. I think we watched a YouTube video on stream of one of those very soothing videos someone captured with the ZR of like parts of, was it Japan or Korea in like the autumn time? And it was just like simple footage in the sense that like, you know, you just kind of point your camera, take a few seconds of whatever, the trees, the people walking by, and put some nice calming music. And it was like very, very relaxing. And I feel like you could absolutely do the same in Spain, make a whole thing with the street cats for sure. Or even like the cobblestones and like, yeah, there's just like so much good architecture. Oh yeah, Fed, I just saw a news pop up that they had just completed the putting the highest marble or whatever, like basically they're constructing that super old building, right? The thing that's been over 115 years or so. I forget what it's called, but the Basilica something. I visited one time. But the thing that's like constantly being constructed, and I saw a video just the other day where apparently they put the final piece of the building parts, the dome or whatever, the highest point, they just put it on top. So man, maybe by the time you're traveling there, I don't know what stage it'll be in, but that should be fun. Oh, and then another thing. So to put a cap on that one, I heard back on a couple of my potential trips in the next, from March to April. So that's really good. And it was good news. Like these are, you know, it'll be fantastic opportunities. So there's a lot of time I'll be spending off stream where I'm just starting to prepare for that. Making sure I have all the right gear, make sure I'm going to be capturing what I need to the right way. So possibly you may or may not see more of that trickle into my streams as I'm like preparing and showing all the gear that I need, or maybe not. Another thing, so this is for, I guess, I don't know if Kavai is still here, but I'm supposed to hear back from one of the tour operators in Norway. However, because he was on a trip up until Sunday. But the problem is now we're up on the very last week of February. And if I do this trip to Norway, realistically, it would mean I have to fly out on the 4th of March. And that's not a lot of time. So part of me thinks it might be smart for me not to try to cram in an additional trip at the beginning of March when I already have potentially 4 back-to-back trips lined up from March to April. So also because I haven't heard back from him just yet, I might just send him an email and let him know, like, let's see, maybe if I can do a trip with him, maybe I'll do that dog sledding trip, but in May. I know he mentioned that he's doing like a Svalbard dog sledding trip, and maybe that could be fun depending on the timing and pricing and all that. So yeah, right now I'm leaning slightly more towards maybe not doing the dog sledding trip just yet. It's definitely something I'm planning to do, like 1000%, but perhaps I need to put a little bookmark on that for now. Just given the timing, you know, it was already a bit ambitious for me to try to rush that in. But yeah, because I do want to do that trip with Roger, but I need to get confirmation on the pricing, which he hasn't responded to me yet, because he's been doing, I know he's been basically out of pocket this weekend running a tour for someone else. So yeah, nobody's fault or anything. It's just, okay, look at the timing. So I'll probably send him an email and just let him know, like, okay, let's pause on March, but maybe we can plan for May, and maybe we can plan for upcoming winter as well. So that's where I'm feeling right now with that one. Yeah. Fed says in Barcelona, that's a bit far north from us, the Sagrada Familia. I won't be able to film that, but there's a nice old church where the Easter parade starts. Nice, nice. Oh, so let's talk about something, because you just made me think of that with like architecture, photography, and stuff like that. I just got a new lens. It is the Viltrox 14mm f4. And it's not like, it's not a pancake lens per se, but it is pretty compact, which is one of the reasons I thought this might be the best lens that I should get for my needs. So 14 millimeters f4, and it's with the Z, what do you call it? It works with the Z mount. So yeah, it's built for the Nikon. Now, someone did remind me that Viltrox and Nikon, they're having some kind of a spat, legally speaking. So the question was like, hey, are you concerned that Nikon might flip off the firmware or something and make it so you can't use this lens? Which is, I guess, a concern. So then I was talking to AI to kind of get a sense of like, what does that mean? Do I need to return this lens? Is this going to be like, is there a chance that I spent this money and then boom, it's unusable? And it seems like it should be okay. I think it was like the worst case scenario is that if they do, I guess, update the firmware so that this lens is incompatible, then it just means I can only use it in like a manual focus mode. And I think I'm okay with that, because the whole point of why I wanted this lens was to get like a more fixed aperture. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily meant to autofocus on anything. I have a very, very particular project that I'm trying to push forward, where I'll be filming everywhere I travel. I think I mentioned briefly to you guys on stream. Fed says I have the Laowa 14mm f4. Yeah, man, I think I saw that one as well. The problem was some of these lenses were slightly larger, and I needed something more compact, so I landed on this guy. And then, funny enough, there's a streamer, what's his name? Coffee Yaboa. I found that guy from back when I made that ZR video, and then I think he donated to my stream, and then someone mentioned like, yo, this is like a legit YouTuber. It might have been you, Fed, actually. I don't remember who it was. But the point is, so I followed him, and after I mentioned this on stream the other day, he literally made a video, which I watched, about the Laowa. It was like the Laowa 12mm or 10mm f something. I forget what it was. But I was like, what are the freaking odds that I've never talked or thought about getting a super wide angle lens ever. Like I just never, of all the lenses, those were the ones I never needed as much. And then when I just randomly had this project, and I randomly just purchased the other day and talked about it on the past stream on Friday, that I was getting this Viltrox 14mm, I didn't even know the word Laowa existed until I was doing that research, and then I ultimately pulled the trigger on this one. And then here comes his video talking about the Laowa. Was it 12 or 10 millimeter? I was like, what the heck, man? Because he showed the lens and he showed the quality. It looks fantastic. But yeah, I mean, listen, from everything I could gather, this seems to be the one that works best for my needs. You said the Laowa is smaller, but probably much heavier since it's all metal, basically. Yeah, this thing is so compact. It's so light. I love it. It's just so tiny. So I'm going to go ahead and swap it onto this. So I'm going to switch out the 20 millimeter lens. We're going to put this guy on. And I'm curious, without moving the camera, I'm curious what the how much more space you guys will see of my little studio setup. And I also bought the adapter ring for the Freewell. So I mentioned yeah, so this is what it looks like actually, right? And then I bought the adapter ring, so it's a 58 millimeter thread size. So then I can put the ND filters on here, the Freewell one, which I still need to test out. Okay, so in order to do this, I'm gonna have to swap out lenses. I'm gonna turn off this camera. So who's here? All right, where's Kimbap? Nala is here. All right, Nala, say hi. Hello, hello. All right, Nala, entertain the stream while I turn off this camera. The Fed says I have a 10 millimeter Laowa manual. They made, and then it cuts off here. What is it? They made an autofocus version recently. Probably that's the one you saw. Oh, okay, okay. Laowa also has a 9 millimeter. Jesus, maybe I should double check and get the 9 millimeter. No. But also the other reason I like this lens, it wasn't that expensive, comparatively speaking, I guess, but it seemed to be reasonably priced. And I need to double check what the price of the Laowa was. But for some reason, I thought that the Laowa lens was slightly more expensive. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. All right, give me a second. We're gonna strap this guy in. Okay. But yeah, if you compare, well, I guess you guys can't see just yet. This is the 20 millimeter, and the the Viltrox one is maybe like yay high compared to the 20 millimeter. So I'll explain what my film project idea is. Hopefully you guys like it. I think I might have explained it to you. I might have said it on stream before, but hold on. Let's turn this guy on. Oh, you know, so one thing I found was an issue with the ZR. It's such a niche minor issue. Yo, what's happening? We got Low Bass in the chat. Shout out to our main man, Low Bass, saying, how is you? I'm doing very well. Happy Monday. Enjoy a good day at work, hopefully. Fed says 9 is crazy wide, and those ultra wide ones have more distortion. The 14 millimeter is what they call zero distortion, so very little. Yeah, and I think the Coffee's video, Yaboa, I forget how to say it, but anyways, his video he mentioned with the 10 millimeter or the 12, whichever one he was showing, he said there's zero distortion on that. I was like, damn. What's happening? We got BC in the chat as well. Let's join this heist, and then I gotta freaking turn off this. Oh yeah, let me explain one of the glitches that occurs with the ZR. You guys are seeing it right now. Basically, when I have the ZR hooked up to my computer, and right now I have a few other cam links, right? So I have the micro HDMI connected to the Elgato cam link, which then hooks up via USB to the Mac Studio, and I have 2 other cameras hooked up as well. So I'm using a USB-C charging for power delivery, separate from my computer. But anyways, so those are the 2 cables hooked up to this this ZR. And when I do that, the issue is that when I power it on, it won't actually fully turn on when I try. I have to wait for it to power off, and then I have to hit it immediately after. I have to power it back on, and then it starts up. All right, so it's so much darker. Well, that would make sense because now we're shooting at f4. So this is an f4 lens, so clearly everything got super dark. But look how wide everything is. Damn, son. Coffee Yaboa. Yes. Really, I like that guy a lot, man. Well, I say that, okay, that's a little bit exaggerated. I haven't seen a lot of his videos, but his energy level and his ability to, you know, when he made this review of that lens, he's speaking off the cuff, and he's doing it for, he's doing it very articulately, if that's a word, and very rapidly. I don't know. I like his talking style when he was giving his review. Low Base is asking, what are you working on today? Well, two things. Mongolia. So finishing off the Mongolia travel edit for the vlog, and then a bit of photo edits as I'm watching videos. But then before we get into that, I just want to show this new lens that I got. So this one is a 14mm lens. So super wide compared to the 20mm I had just before, but also super dark, because now we went from, I think previously I was probably at f2.5 or 2.8 on the 20mm, and this one is f4. So this is where I would have to just, I guess, make a few adjustments, either brighten everything up, or maybe instead of shooting at ISO 800, let's see what we can play with here. Can we go to the... Wait, if I'm... Oh wait, Fed, this might be a question for you. I don't know if you know about this, because I don't. This could be a ChatGPT question as well. I know that the ZR has the 2 base ISOs, but are the base ISOs, does that carry across when you're shooting in SDR as well as when you're shooting in log, or like between raw and like normal or whatever? Does the base ISO concept only work when you're shooting in raw format or like log format, or does that principle carry across everything? So even if I'm here shooting in like an MP4 blah blah blah, if I switch it to 6400 ISO, would that be the same as when I'm doing oops, oh my god, it's mood lighting. I like him. He does really long form talks about stuff, often on his treadmill. Oh, dude, that's badass. That's I think his break is over now. He had a break for a couple months, not making as much content. He was also out traveling to his home country. Yeah, I think he said something about being in Ghana or something. I like that guy, man. I would love to collaborate with him at some point. Can you imagine how? Oh man, how I would have so much fun with that guy. He doesn't know anything about me, and I barely know anything about him. But I'm like, yo, I want to be best friends with that guy. I want to travel with him. He seems very quirky, and if there's anything about me that I know, it is definitely that I'm definitely not quirky. So, the base ISOs are different in SDR. Well, god dang, how am I supposed to? How the heck will I figure that out? Okay, right now I have it on 2000 ISO. I guess I can just hit this auto ISO button. Let's see what happens. The problem is the cable gets in the way of this screen here. Let's go back to 800. And then let's hit auto ISO. Jesus. Okay. I can't tell. On the screen, it seems like there's part of me that's overexposed. It's on ISO 4000. Okay, so maybe I'll just switch it off auto. And we'll just go to like, I don't know, 3200 maybe? Okay. I can go see the exact ISO. Give me a minute. Well, thank you, Fed. Thank you for doing the research for me. I'm so lazy, but you know what? Maybe this is why it's good to become a streamer. The base ISOs are different. Gotcha. Okay, well, I think it doesn't look half bad, right? So this is the 14mm. So clearly, I'm getting a good sense of where what was available before in terms of capture and what we have now. Basically, before, when I had this set up, you would see just past my Mr. Steampunk guy. So just slightly to the left of Mr. Steampunk was where it cropped off. And then the lens would go, framing would go until maybe like here, I think? Yeah. So this is what you normally would see. It was like vertical line here, cutting across. And then the vertical line there, basically. Can I do two lines? Can I do this? So it'd be like from here to here. This is what was visible before. And then I think it cropped maybe like here. And also I do have the letterboxing, so there's obviously a bit more height to this that is regardless being cut off. But yeah, so we get a lot more range, obviously, but it's kind of cool to see. It's like, it's one thing to know 14 versus 20 millimeter, but then to actually see it, I'm like, okay, interesting. So now I'm like thinking, wow, what does a 12 millimeter look like? What does a 10 or Fed, you mentioned the 9 millimeter. I need to look into that actually. That sounds a little too insane, right? Hold on. You said it was a Laowa? Was it a Laowa? 9 millimeter? Oh. A Laowa 9 millimeter f2.8. Venus Optics Laowa 9mm f2.8 0D, zero distortion for the Sony. I guess I would need, but then yeah, so then I would need some kind of adapter to go into the Z. Do they have a, let's see, Laowa 9mm Nikon Z? Oh yeah, okay. Venus Optics Laowa 9mm f2.8 0D lens. About $400. Oh my god, should I have, did I make the wrong purchase? Because this one looks pretty compact as well, no? Let's see. Yeah, that's not bad. That probably might literally be like the same size. Offers a 13. Oh wait, hold on. Is this not a full frame? This Laowa 9mm is a Nikon Z mount lens offering a 13.5mm equivalent. Oh, okay. I feel much better now. Although this one is at f2.8, so I would have also gotten a bit more stops of light. I can't find the info. It's not on Nikon ZR info. Listen, don't worry about it. I appreciate you looking into it for me. But yeah, that's on me to do research for. They offer most of the lenses in several mounts. Okay, so basically, if I had purchased this one instead of the Viltrox, not only would I have gotten slightly more... Wait, hold on. Am I missing something here? It says it's a 35mm equivalent. Okay, what am I missing here? Because it says it's a 9mm, and I don't want to do the math, so my assumption was, I was like, oh, it's a 9mm, but in the DX format, which means it's actually equivalent to a 13.5mm. So I'm following that logic, I guess. But then where the heck does this 35mm equivalent come from? Is this just a... Is it a me thing, or am I reading this correctly? Did they just make a mistake here? Maybe if I search 9mm Nikon Z full frame. Laowa 9mm f5.6, 7 Artisans 9mm f5.6. 14 is much more usable, but 9 is wild for certain things if you want an absurd look. You're looking at the wrong lens. This one is basically 14mm for APS-C. They have an 8mm full frame lens, or 9mm also. Full frame? Laowa 9mm full frame Nikon. Ah, okay. This one says full frame. All right. 9mm f5.6 full frame lens. Interesting. Okay. So the 5.6 is a little bit, could be concerning, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, here, let me share what my use case is, and we'll see maybe if it makes sense or not. Low basis, I'm ordering the RF 24-70 f2.8 with my new camera. RF, that's a Canon one, right? I had someone reach out to me from my former life who said he was asking if I knew anyone or any marketplace to sell his Sony lenses. So he mentioned he has a Sony 28-70 f2, a Sony 50mm f1.2, a Sony 135 f1.8, a Tamron 28-75 f2.8 for Sony, and a Tamron 35-150mm f2 to 2.8 Sony. And he was saying he prefers to sell all together, but you know, he's open to whatever. So, but it sounds like you're Canon, so yeah, I guess it wouldn't work. When it's as wide as it's 9mm, there's always distortion, but it is linear. But yeah, low base, I feel like the 24-70 2.8, my God, just like whatever the lens is, I just feel like for the longest time, that was definitely one of the best. That was like the most versatile lens that I had in my toolkit that I would always, you know, I knew if I travel with one lens, that probably was the better one to go around with. I feel like I need to drop this a bit. I feel like I'm glowing here. Okay. Well, listen, for now, I just want to keep testing out. So this like 14mm, realistically, I'll probably still use the 20mm for this like main shot. And then this Viltrox one, I'll explain in a second. There are Sony shooters in the community and we have a for sale room. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay, so let me, I'll put that in your, in the Discord. Thanks, low base. With the white screen pointing at you, you look a bit overexposed. Oh yeah, that's where the brightness is coming from as well. There we go. Yeah, I forgot I had a big ass monitor just like blasting me with brightness. Okay, so here, let me explain what is my thought process. I want to make a travel film. I mentioned this on one of the earlier streams, I think. There's 2 videos I want to make, and they're both going to be from the perspective of the object itself. So the first object, or whichever one I film first, is going to be the backpack. The second short film and the object itself will be the camera. And I thought it'd be nice to kind of make a nice travel film where you see these 2, you know, let's just stick with the backpack for now. So you would see like my travels from the lens of the backpack, right? So from the point of view of the backpack. So since I've got that new Pidgeotech backpack, which you can see right now suspended above me, right there. This is, you know what? I should make a review video for Pidgeotech and just explain. I've basically only been using Pidgeotech as a paperweight, if you will. So I've been using the backpack as a counterbalance for when I do my overhead shots, because then obviously I have the camera ends up sticking out over here somewhere. So I've been using this backpack, filled it up with a bunch of like heavy water bottles and stuff, and that's become my little bit of a counterbalance. I do have some, I have to find it, but I do have some sandbags, which I guess I could use instead of that. But it turns out the Pidgeotech is big enough to house a lot of heavy, you know, heavy stuff. So yeah, not exactly what it was intended for. But the point is, I have this Pidgeotech backpack, and now my goal is that I'll be traveling throughout the, you know, the next year or so. And as I travel around the world, I will hopefully be able to get some good B-roll shots, show the backpack out in the wild, see me wearing it, all of that kind of stuff. But then also, eventually I want to make a proper year-long review video where I show like, I've took this around to X number of countries around the world. And so here's what my thoughts are, right? Like, how did it hold up? What do I like, what I don't like, if I'd recommend it, all of that. So let's say as I'm doing that, my thought process was, could I also find a creative way to stick a camera onto the backpack in such a way that it looks like if the backpack had eyes, this is the point of view from that backpack. So, you know, it might be a front-facing view, it could be a back-facing view. view. So like when I'm wearing the backpack, my thought was like, okay, from the side pocket, maybe I'll have a tripod and the camera's on the top of the tripod, fix it in a certain way where it's like strapped into the backpack. So every time I'm walking around with the backpack, it could be a little like, it'll just be like a floating camera that's set up in a way where it still shows the visual of whatever's in front of me, but with just a bit on the peripheral of seeing, let's say, the side of my face or part of my head, or maybe even the backpack itself. I'm not sure if that makes as much sense, but just positioning it in a way where it almost feels like the backpack has eyes, and it's like, you know, I'm piggybacking the backpack, and we're both traveling and enjoying the view of whatever, the mountains, the desert, the snow, the jungles. And then that way it can turn into a nice long montage over time where you see the backpack traveling around the world. And then the other options would be if I set the camera facing backwards. So same thing, like maybe I strap it to the backpack in such a way that it should be fairly fixed. And then you see as I'm walking around, it's just like constantly looking at what's behind me. Obviously that wouldn't make as much sense cinematically speaking, because you're always walking away from something, but you could also end up with like really cool views that are unexpected because you're always so focused on looking forward, right? So like I'm trying to find different perspectives of what a backpack, if a backpack gained sentience, if a backpack gained a mind, what are some of these interesting perspectives or points of view that it might have about the world, about traveling, just about whatever, right? And I thought it'd be cool to kind of make a video narrated by the backpack. And I've got a close friend of mine back in the States. He has the deepest voice known to man, okay? He's got like the radio voice. He used to, I don't know if he still does it, but he used to like have his own podcast like years back. But he's got like this super deep radio type voice. So I reached out to him and be like, yo, would you mind like narrating a couple of my short films? And he was like, yeah, of course, man. And so, cause you guys don't want to hear me. You don't want to hear my voice. It's not, you know, come on, you know, it's like, imagine if I made that short film recently with the chimpanzees, the Chimp Island Sanctuary, but instead of hearing that doctor's voice, you heard my voice instead. It just wouldn't hit the same. So yeah, he signed up. He was like, yeah, for sure. So the point is, imagine, I even have the script. I got the script and it's pretty clean. All right. But throughout this short film, you would hear the backpack's voice as he kind of explains his sentience, like his point of view, blah, 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 right? And like the world that he gets to see as my travel companion. And that's kind of what the short film is going to be about. It's an homage. It's a shout out to like this unsung hero, which is the backpack. No traveler in the world can explore and create and share the world if not for the backpack that carries and houses all the things that they need, right? So it is very much like one of the most crucial tools or companions that any traveler requires to be able to do your craft, to make your arts, to explore the world, even if it's not for others, just for yourself. Unless you're one of these guys who travels with no backpack, in which case, like, you know, more power to you. But, you know, realistically, the backpack is a crucial component to all of our travel requirements. So I figured this would be a nice spin on, instead of making like a product review video where it's obvious in your face, this is a product review video, here are the features, here's what's great about it. I thought this could be a completely different perspective of like, this is a nice short film about this concept of a backpack gaining sentience and traveling from the point of view of the backpack. And it happens to be a Pidgeotech backpack. So it becomes a more subtle promotion of the backpack without having to be in your face. And it's more just like hopefully sponsored by Pidgeotech. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cool idea in my opinion. Obviously, from idea to execution, there's a huge gap. But yeah, that's my goal. So I thought I would need a super wide angle lens. Sorry, this is a very long story, but hopefully it's making sense to you guys. as part of that, my thought process is, yes, I could technically film this concept using a bunch of action cameras, right? So I could use like this DJI Osmo Nano that I just purchased, and I can use Insta360 for like a 360-degree view, right? I could use all these action cameras, but the problem is, clearly we all know it won't be as good quality. It won't. It'll have that action camera feel to it, and not like a cinematic shot on red color science or whatever. Like it just won't have that same richness, is my assumption. It is an assumption, but I feel like it's a pretty confident. I'm pretty confident, right? The quality will be quite drastic. So that's where it was like, okay, well then if I wanted to film all of this with the Nikon ZR, for example, how would I do that? And that's where I need an ultra wide angle lens that's super light, so that I can somehow strap the camera to the backpack at an angle in such a way where I can end up with an ultra wide point of view and hopefully get a bit of that peripheral of me in the shot, so it's more obvious that this is like a backpack on my back. So Fed says the church I will be filming the parades at is the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Torre Vieja. The Immaculate Conception? What the heck is that? What are we talking about here? I feel like I should know what that means. Immaculate Conception. It's a Roman Catholic dogma defining that the Virgin Mary was conceived without original sin or its stain from the first moment of her existence. Wait, I'm confused. This is in Spain? Oh, the conception of Mary by her. Oh, okay. So this is where she was born? The Virgin Mary was born in Spain? Man, I don't know my geography. I don't know my history here. Because obviously Jesus wasn't born here, right? Jesus was born in Bethlehem, right? It is also confused with the virgin birth of Jesus, which is the belief. Okay, yeah. So this is the birth of. This is where Mary was born. Got it. Okay. Or I think I got it. I don't know. They weren't born there? Oh, well then now I don't got it. What the heck, man? Why is religion so confusing? But yeah, so that is the concept that I have in mind, is to film this kind of short film from the point of view of the backpack. And as part of that, I need a wide angle lens. So the 14 is the one I could find. However, perhaps I might need to look into a 9mm. This might be a question for ChatGPT actually. Hold on. Hello, Amber. Can you hear me?
I sure can hear you loud and clear, partner. Like we're sitting around a campfire on the open range. What's on your mind today?
I just bought a 14mm f4 full frame lens. So this will be something I use for upcoming film projects. How does that field of view compare to, let's say, a 9mm lens, full frame? And with the 9mm, how does that compare to like an action camera? So if I have, let's say, a DJI Osmo Nano or one of those action cameras, usually how does a 9mm full frame focal length lens compare to an action camera?
Well now, a 14mm on full frame is already mighty wide, capturing a big old piece of the scene. But a 9mm? That's gonna feel like you're practically in the scene, like you're almost riding the horizon line. Now most action cameras, like them DJI little critters, are usually around 14 to 16mm full frame equivalent. So if you drop down to a 9mm on full frame, well, that'll be even wider than most action cams. You'll be capturing the whole dang prairie, so to speak.
Okay, I was only semi-listening, but I thought it said it's like around 14, but that doesn't seem right. Fed, you say the DJI Nano is equivalent to about 7 to 8mm, 143 degrees angle. Okay. Yeah, like I said, worst case scenario, I use an action camera, hook it up to the backpack. or use my Insta360, and obviously I can adjust the angle of the X4 camera. But like I said, I want something that still feels a bit cinematic, and I do understand that if I go towards like a 9mm range, like you said, Fed, it ends up becoming like a very absurd looking shot. So if my goal, because my intent is that I want the film to feel more poetic or artistic and like, I don't know, stoic, if you will. I definitely don't want it to feel comedic. So that's the other thing I guess I have to consider is like, if I end up going with a wider lens than 14mm, I run the risk that it does turn into that fisheye effect, and it just becomes less immersive of like a, your emotion doesn't get as sucked into the spirit of the short film and more into like just the, the novelty of it or the, there's like a fine line, I guess, between what feels serious and what feels silly and peculiar. And I feel like the moment I get into more of that fisheye style, it leans too much into that side of things. So, but yeah, we'll see. So the 14mm, slap that baby on. I might just stick it on like a tripod, put in the side pouch, and then just lift up the tripod enough and then angle the camera down to a point where hopefully, like I said, it'll get a little bit of me and most of the landscape in front of me. So if I can get that kind of view, then my goal is I would lock in that settings or whatever it is. And then as I travel from country to country to country, just whenever I feel like there's a moment where I'm like backpacking around or hiking somewhere or walking around, I want to try to get those shots and just get that feeling of like seeing the world from the backpack's point of view. And then the other shot that I will add into the shot list of what I'll continue to use as a pattern is the one I mentioned to you guys on stream before, inside the backpack. So like setting up my Nikon ZR inside the backpack, so when I zip it open and the light floods in, each time you'll see me grabbing gear out of the backpack, but behind me you'll see the landscape. So it'll be a desert sand dune one time, and then when it closes up and opens up, it'll be some snowy landscape, and then it'll turn into the jungle, and it'll turn into a plane ride, whatever it is, but you'll just constantly feel that motion of travel throughout. So yeah, that's my idea. I see it in my head. I see enough of it in my head where I know that if it's done correctly, this will be a very nice short film. It'll feel nice. It'll be a feel-good story, but it can feel like something worth putting together. But there's a lot of, for every one successful short film about that concept, there's going to be a graveyard of like all the shitty ones. So Fez says, when your hand is near the lens now when talking and gesticulating, it is larger. It is larger than your head and shoulders in frame. So 14 is definitely enough. Yeah, that is kind of a crazy angle. Oh, sorry, let's go full screen for that. Boom, 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 boom. And that is a cool, I feel like, yeah, exactly. So the moment I go 12 or 10, it just gets a bit more comical. What's up? Yeah. I've never shot with the 14 before or anything wide. Because when it came to the lenses that I had in my toolkit as a traveler back in the day, I prioritized the 24 to 70 f2.8. Then I got the 70 to 200 f2.8. And even though in the beginning of my travels, I focused more on landscape, to me, because I didn't have an unlimited budget, I was still, fresh out of college and, a few years out, and, you have some savings, but it's not like I'm making crazy amount of money. So I was able to, I did buy 2 of those Holy Trinity, but when it came to the 14 to 24 f2.8, I just thought that the use case I would get out of it wasn't enough for me to prioritize it. Because like worst case scenario, what I would do is I would just shoot with the 24-70, and then I would stack a panoramic shot, right? I would just take photos and then keep shifting from left to right or up and down, and then it takes more time, but then obviously in Photoshop or whatever, you can stitch it all together to kind of create that wide angle view. So I figured if I have to choose, it's better to go with the tighter lens, and then I can always replicate the wide angle shot. And that worked out really nicely for my needs. So in case that's good advice for anyone. When I shot regular short films using the 14mm, even when the actor is on distance, you can see the effect where his hands and stuff near the camera looks bigger, even when he is several meters away. Yeah. And like I said, my particular need for this shoot is like very, very hyper specific. And there will be a lot of moments where you might see my hand, so imagine here, it would be like pitch black. And then you see it as the backpack opens up, you'll see me peering in or whatever and like grabbing something, pulling out a camera or like pulling out a lens or whatever it is. And like each time it would close back up and it goes to pitch black. And, so that's like one concept. And then the other, like I said, it would just be like maybe a bit of my head peeking in on the side here. Like if my fist is my head, it would just I guess maybe something, I don't know, or my shoulder maybe. You might see a little bit of my shoulder on the peripheral here. So that it's like, and it's always fixed, it's never moving, so it just feels like, okay, the camera is on my shoulder, it is the backpack. So yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see how it looks. Maybe later on I'll bring the backpack down and then I'll actually test it out for myself. But yeah, I have the 10mm, but I never really use it. Even the 14mm is niche lens, I only use very rarely. Yeah. There's just a few of these kind of film ideas where I think having this level of like a wide angle could make sense to capture things that are normally not possible, let's say. 21mm is usually wide enough to get a nice wide view. I have a 21 TT Artisan. Yeah, I've been enjoying the 20mm f1.8 lens. That has been my go-to for basically everything, right? So, it's, as far as it goes, it's not like the most compact lens, but it's also not that heavy. So you do end up having a slightly longer lens, but it's super light. So it kind of works out. But the only issue I had with this guy, well, 20mm is not bad, but I think I needed wider. Plus, because of how long it is, I just figured if I had this stuck to a backpack, it just won't be positioned properly because it'll almost be too forward. So it doesn't get enough of me. Whereas I need like a pancake lens style. So it just hopefully isn't sticking up in front of my face and my body. It'll be slightly behind me. That was like the reasoning. So 20 is perfect for wide stuff. Yeah, 100%. All my shots. Oh, another quick update for you guys. Sorry, wait, I haven't even done any work yet. It is what it is. I have finished filming a number of episodes for my new series, the Behind the Lens. Which, by the way, I should link it. What is the link? Is it just !BTL? Let me see. That is it. Yes. So if you haven't checked out my first episode on YouTube, I think it's only 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes long. And that's like my preliminary episode, right? That's me explaining the concept and my ambitions for my YouTube channel and what direction I need to go with it. So hopefully you enjoy it. But yeah, that was my first episode of Behind the Lens. And it's basically just these like very short form content pieces where I will just hyper focus on a particular topic and film it from this overhead shot perspective. So it's no different from a lot of YouTubers, right? What they've already got. But I wanted something, because I was missing in my arsenal of like what I do as a YouTuber, is doing more of these talking head videos where, yes, I'm doing the live streams, but not everyone, like majority of people on YouTube are not watching hours long content like this live. So I need to give more digestible pieces of me talking about things that they might find value in. So I've started to storyboard and script up and then film a bunch of those episodes. And I finished, I think, about 4 to 6 of them already. So the goal is that you should be seeing these every week. The next one is going to be published in 2 days. So YouTube told me that Wednesday at 6 p.m. my time apparently is the most optimal time if I'm publishing some kind of weekly video. I don't know. My channel's not big enough to really, I don't know. But since that's what it said, I figure let's stick with that. So in 2 days' time, you will see the second episode of Behind the Lens. And that one is going to be about how I got into photography. Like the moment that light bulb clicked in my mind that I need to buy a camera and I need to actually pursue this further. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this story time. Then the third episode, so there's a bunch of other ones, but I'm very excited. Oh my God, I haven't been this excited about creating content in quite some time. Hold on, let me read what Fed, you said. Remember that as you get wider, even 1 millimeter difference is quite noticeable. So if 20 millimeter is not wide enough, even 18 is quite a lot wider. The wider you go, the bigger the difference per millimeter. You're not the first person to... I've heard that before, and it was one of those where it's like it became like a physics explanation. I was like, okay, you know what? It's beyond me. I just understand it, or I'll understand it, but I won't know why. But yeah, it sounds like you actually know why. But yeah, I have heard like that each incremental millimeter difference as you get wider has like a more drastic, visible, a more noticeable difference. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I've just filmed a few more. A few of the topics, for example, it's going to be things like, one of them is going to be about AI. So the title for that one is AI will replace me, and I'm okay with that. But then I have not in parentheses. So like I'm not okay with that, and then also I'm okay with that. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that one because it's a bit more, hopefully a little bit thoughtful. It's not like a full-on like, hey, I have the answers to how people survive as creatives in an AI world, but it is giving my perspective on things and what do I think is the best path forward if you are a creator. And if you've been watching my stream, I've talked in detail about it at various times anyway, so it shouldn't be new to you guys. And then I have another episode about why I stopped calling myself a photographer. So that one is also a bit more storytelling, but also explaining a huge mindset shift that helped me start to expand my horizon and pursue other things beyond just photography. And all of that started with this kind of changing in my perspective of, am I a photographer or am I something more? So yeah, basically it's like these kind of topics where it's more story time or whatever, but I think you guys will enjoy it. And so every week, every Wednesday, you guys will be seeing these episodes pop up. We're only on episode 1, but like I said, I got like, I think 6 of them filmed up. A few of them, my editor's already finished as well, and there's a bunch more that we're working on together. And the quality, man, I'm so happy. Like, night and day from that previous editors, those previous ones that I mentioned to you guys, nightmare situation. We have a good workflow. Sometimes I worry that I might be a bit too like nitpicky with him or perfectionist, but he doesn't complain. So yeah, and his work is fantastic. So Fed says it's not that important why, just what you see when using the lenses. In 9mm, for example, is much wider than 14. Once you get down in those low numbers, the difference is huge. Just look up some mages taken images. Sorry. You took me on a completely different tangent with that one typo. Just look up some mages taken with the, I don't know. I was like, we got wizards in the chat shooting. My mind went places with that one. Images taken with the Laowa 9mm at 5:6. They almost look like CGI or something. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So if I start doing a little bit of work today, or at least during the stream, we want to get through our Mongolia episode. And also I did want to, I saw this video, but this one I think is too long. It's from iShowSpeed. It's an hour and a half, but I guess it's a condensed version of his 30 days exploring all of Africa. And we watched a little bit of like his actual stream in Botswana and Nairobi, because again, I'm starting to take notes on IRL live streaming, especially for the things that I do. So like traveling for wildlife or these kind of exotic experiences, let's say. And there's no better example of someone, a creator that's doing this the right way than iShowSpeed. But obviously the big difference is he's an actual creator, right? Like he's an actual big name. He's got a full-on crew. So we were watching a bunch of these streams where we see what's happening. You know, you can hear him at times complaining about the Starlink or like things that they need to do. So that was good. I was taking notes. It's good to know, like, we're verifying a few things about how to do an IRL stream in some of these countries. So my assumption was always that in Kenya, I would need a Starlink to be able to live stream. So it's good to see an actual example of him doing this.
I always wanted to do a stream at the safari. I always wanted to be in that area, in that environment. Why y'all running? Chill. Are you like scared?
Oh, he stopped. Watch out, Harry. Oh, he's course. Hey, Zebra, come on, please.
The whole stream was, I mean, it wasn't kind of what I expected. I was kind of expecting animals coming left from right, like it's damn Lion King, but we didn't see a lion that whole day, but we did see cheetahs, rhinos.
It's a hippo. Bro, them niggas just want to sleep, bro.
Giraffes.
Yo, look at these giraffes. Holy, this is cool.
Elephants.
Hey, elephant, Ronaldo or Messi? Oh, go! Oh.
Hippos, ostriches.
Hungry hippo. Bro, do hip.
And that's the other thing, as I'm just watching this right now. Fed says mages. Yeah, mages taking shots with a camera. Do you think they like they have to say words as they hit the shot? Like the Wingardium Leviosa style? Lots of creds to Speed. Yeah, I like to watch his video on stream, but it's a bit long. Yeah, like I've been saying for a long time. And I mentioned this before, but like the whole reason I got into streaming was because I was like, I want to do what Speed is doing, but in my niche of wildlife and like that kind of exploration. But you can see it, even these, like, obviously these are the highlight moments that they put together. The thing about iShow Speed is that he's like a personality, right? He's someone who's got high energy, who is very engaging or entertaining. Whereas that's not necessarily my angle. I don't think that's my shtick. I don't think that's just not my personality. So I'm very much more like low key vibes, I guess, or I'm a boring man at heart, you know? So I won't be able to replicate that level of energy, but that's also not my goal. My goal is to hopefully capture these moments from the lens of like a wildlife photographer, so then people can actually watch how I take the shots, you know, hopefully making it look more professional as opposed to like from like a tourist perspective. But yeah, it was still cool like seeing what he's doing here and all that. So don't mess with them hippos. You don't want to mess with those. Yeah, it's kind of funny hearing someone who, you know, because obviously it sounds like this might be his first safari, or like in Africa maybe he's never done a safari before. So you're hearing like what his expectations were versus reality. So it's like, oh, we didn't get to see a lion that whole time or whatever. It's like, yeah, those kind of, you have these expectations of seeing certain animals, and then in reality it's like, depending on where you go, you know, they might have, I don't know if this was like a private game reserve. I'm assuming this was actually more Maasai. But like with Maya and FaZe, when they did theirs, they're on like private game reserves where you can basically almost be guaranteed certain sightings because it's a private reserve, and you know they've got like their boundaries, they know what animals are there, that kind of stuff. Whereas once you're out in like these national parks, it's all just like you don't know, you might not see anything, right? And you might not get close-up angles. And then for him as a tourist, he doesn't care, right? He doesn't care about getting the perfect shot. Whereas for photographers, obviously you're like, you don't care about seeing a dozen hippos off in the distance if you can't get a good photo of it. So then there's like a difference in your mindset of what you're there to shoot or there to capture. So it's kind of cool to see it again from a tourist perspective, and then like compared to what I would care about, let's say.
Hippos really just chilling in water all day? There's a ton of ostriches right there.
That was actually one of my favorite experiences, seeing them wild animals in person. And I tried to race a few animals, but
so this kind of stuff, I definitely would not be doing. So as funny as it is, it's also one of those like I'm surprised they allowed that to happen, because well, damn, yeah, you're not supposed to do that for a few obvious reasons, but the more serious reason, besides like, yeah, you know, you might put your health at risk for sure, but it's you don't want to like be intrusive. You know, you try your best to be as non-disruptive when you're out in the wild, right? You want to be as like invisible as possible, because yeah, like you're in their home, so there's this feeling of, I don't know if it goes as far as bordering on like ethical or not, but there is that weird feeling of like, well, you are being a little bit on the edge of unethical, let's say, potentially, but I don't feel strongly about this one way or the other. But it's like, for me, like, okay, doing this, if I was the guide, if I was the driver, and I saw my tourist run out and do this, like for sure I would have actually probably been pissed, or I might have actually been like, what the heck. But obviously he's like a huge content creator, and like there's a bit more of a bending of the rules, if you will. So yeah. Fed says, yeah, that's why I won't narrate the Easter parades, for example. That's why I film. I want the images and sounds tell the story, the emotions on people's faces in the parades. Yeah, I like what you're saying. I agree with that approach quite a bit. I kind of like more of this silent narrator feeling, where you let the actual sound of the streets, the sound of the people, especially with your Nikon ZR, right? So you don't have to worry about clipping or anything like that. You're going to get so much good audio of just being out on the streets and whatever else. And I feel like, yeah, I agree with you, that can carry the story way more than the visuals can, and definitely more than a narrator can. What I have to say about it is not important, so I talk through the images. My voice is in picking the shots and editing. Gotcha. I like that.
Come on, man, they cheated. They ran too soon, man.
They kept just running away from me, so. Yeah, I say the coolest animal I saw was maybe, for some reason, the giraffes. We like got into this area where like the giraffes were running. Seeing wild giraffes are just super cool to me.
I agree. Oh, and then, yeah, so stuff like this I also do want to capture on stream. But maybe not, we'll see. But like I mentioned, like there'd be two types of streaming for the IRL. One would be obviously going out on safaris or like actually going to find the wildlife. And the other is back in home base, wherever the base camp is I probably end up setting up a live stream in my own like room. Like usually you live in these tents, right? So you're in like your own tent suite, which is really nice. When you hear tent, you think like, oh, it's something terrible, but it's like, no, this is like proper luxury style. You'd be surprised with like the tent qualities, right? It's just like the outer, it's like a structure that looks like a tent and it has fabric, but inside it's like amazing. Like in every safari lodge I've been on, like depending on the price range, but they're usually good. So inside there, I would set up a Starlink, set up the camera, and just do a typical kind of like what we're doing now, right? Like just imagine this, but behind me is the rest of the tent. You see my bed, and you might occasionally hear, because it's always fun. Like a lot of these tents, you do have like a vented fabric. What do you call it? Like a vented window, or it's like a netting, so you can kind of see through the meshing. And sometimes you can actually see elephants and animals come by, which is crazy, especially at night. So yeah, I would do a night stream where it's just me recapping the day, what we experienced, and then I would also then switch over here, going to like my DaVinci or my Lightroom, and then showing some of the best photos, and then we'd actually break it down. I'd edit some of them, and then prepare for the next day of shooting. So it'd be fairly short, but yeah, we'd mix in a bit of actual live stream out in the wild, and then a bit of cooling down, Q&As, that kind of stuff. The 32-bit flow is going to be nice in the crowds. One less thing to worry about. Man, that's one of the best features. Low Base is asking, are you still messing with Claude? Yes, a lot. I've been using Claude quite a bit. Claude has actually been helping me quite a bit to structure my stories for like my YouTube channel, the scripting of it, just like breaking down what's the best way to have a digestible conversation for my Behind the Lens series. So it's actually been surprisingly good for that.
Spots. After
That's so crazy, man.
little pellet.
Oh my goodness.
Delta.
Nice fun.
Oh wait, does he share his setup in this video? Does he have like chapters in here? I thought I just saw something that said like setup.
And we didn't watch those.
Oh, it's just saying setting up stream. Gotcha. Because I would love to actually know what is his whole gear setup. I don't know if he fully talks about it. I know there's a video in the past where he talked about how he uses like a TVU, but for these like global travels, I'm curious.
That point was waterfall. I don't know what.
Oh, and then wait, he went to Uganda or Rwanda and did the gorillas, right? I'm curious if they were able to stream from the forest. I'm assuming he wasn't able to stream the gorilla trek itself, but if he was able to, oh my god, that opens up so many new opportunities for me. Because like obviously, I do a lot of gorilla treks, and I have a few more coming up in the next few months. If I could live stream a freaking gorilla trek, that is the top of my expectations or my hopes. Does he not have like chapter breakdowns here? Hold on. Show transcript. Uganda. No, gorilla. We're in Rwanda hiking. Okay, gorillas in Rwanda. 41:19.
We're in Rwanda hiking for gorillas.
Okay, I wish I had the time, or I didn't have the time to actually watch any of his streams live. I'm curious if this was a proper live stream, or was this pre-recorded and then he just posted after.
This moment is one of the moments.
I'm assuming this was. I just don't know how it would have been possible technologically speaking, because you're deep in the jungle. So even if they had a Starlink, how exactly would that have worked? So I'm assuming it wouldn't have worked, or I'm assuming they didn't do this live. But Fed says, sorry, let me catch up. You guys are saying, I just started messing with Claude for Excel and Chrome, and I'm loving it, especially for Excel. Yeah, I've not that I know much, but it sounded like Claude is really, really good for these kind of coding and technical stuff. And I have heard that it's like built into Excel now, and it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Claude is good at making shot lists out of my rambling writings when I brainstorm about different scenes from my short films. Yeah, it's been, well, I haven't asked about shot list yet. But one of the features of Claude that I really like is when I'm spitting an idea at it and it's helping me brainstorm, sometimes it'll ask me questions back, and it's even got an interface where it's like a multiple choice question. It's like, what kind of mood are you looking for? Or like, can you clarify this thing, A, B, C, or put in your own response? I think that's really cool. Because as far as I know, I don't think Gemini or ChatGPT have that option of like, before I give you the full answer, can you give me a bit more feedback? And then I can give you the best answer. And then obviously seeing how it works is really cool as well. It's already there in my writing, but it's helpful to have Claude tidy it up. A bit older video, but this showcases his setup. Ooh, thank you. Hold on. Let me copy this. Thank you, Kavai, for sharing that. Let me copy. Come on, buddy. Copy link. And then let me just pop it in as another. Oh, this one Kavai, I've actually seen that video already. That one, in the early days when I was starting to do the research of doing like a live stream with the internet connections and stuff, his is one of the first ones I saw about using the TVU and everything. But for me now, the issue becomes around like once you're in an area without any cell connection. ChatGPT I've had several scheduled social media posts fail over the last couple of weeks. I have Claude for Chrome scrolling through them and reposting them. Oh, okay. ChatGPT can also do stuff like that, especially GPT-5. ChatGPT does that in research mode, tidy up shot list. I mean, gotcha. Yeah, I was just watching another streamer earlier today, and we went on down this whole tangent about like AI, and I feel like there's nothing more controversial right now for artists, at the very least, than the topic of AI, for like obvious reasons and for important reasons as well. And so it's one of those where I'm very fascinated by that. Anytime there's like a very controversial feeling about things or very strong opinions, because it's like you can't even say the answer somewhere in the middle, because then that doesn't satisfy anyone, right? Because then you have the people on one side or the other being like, whatever. So it was a really cool. It's an interesting conversation. So I made a YouTube video, which is it's probably not gonna show up until much later unless I can prioritize it. But like I mentioned, I made a video where I talk about basically how I am basically looking to survive this inevitable AI, domination of all industries. So yeah, I just finished filming it actually. And so I'm working with the editor now to see how we can tidy that up and make it look super polished. But yeah, you'll hear my thoughts on AI and all that fun stuff.
That turned me into a man, and what surprised me,
I tend to just write script and shot list in a jumble when writing it. That's how my brain works. So I had to tidy it up and divide it all, but now I can just let ChatGPT or Claude do that in a second. Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. So let's say if I have a story idea, I will type out everything, or sometimes I'll voice it out loud, but I type up everything of like, here's everything from start to finish, here's my thoughts, and then I will have Claude at this point digest it and figure out ways to tighten up my verbiage, but keeping it in the spirit of how I talk. And then I basically just go back and forth. I'll speak it out loud to say like, does that make sense or not? That kind of thing.
Is that it's not that scary as it seems. Once you're with them, like you just get this feeling of like everything's gonna be okay.
Okay, I'm guessing because you don't see any overlays, like text overlays or anything here. I'm assuming, unless that's true for everything. Oh, so maybe this was live. I guess I can just go to his website and see. No. Yeah. So for example here. Yeah, so here we see the text overlay pop up. And the little timer. So clearly this was live. So I think this proves the point, or the assumption that I had, which was, where was it? For the Gorilla Trek, this wasn't actually done on a live stream.
This moment is one of the moments that turned me into a man, and what surprised me is that it's not that scary as it seems. Once you're with them, like, you just get this feeling of like everything's gonna be okay and everything's gonna be all right. I had a baby gorilla come to me and lay with me and talk to me.
Oh my God, I'm curious. I'm curious how many hours he got to spend with the gorillas, because generally, again, us plebs, right, the normies, we have to pay a crazy amount of money to spend 1 hour maximum with the gorillas. Or you can pay double the crazy money to spend 4 hours with the gorillas. But those gorillas that you can spend 4 hours with, they are less habituated. They're not fully habituated towards humans. So they tend to either be more, sometimes more shy, maybe a bit more aggressive, just more skittish around humans, just because they're not as comfortable with them, right? And in Rwanda, because this is where, so he did this in Rwanda. Rwanda, to do an hour gorilla trek, or an hour, to spend an hour with the gorillas, I believe it's cost about $1,600. It might be slightly more with inflation and all that, but it's like $1,500 or $1,600. And then if you wanted to do the 4 hour experience, I'm assuming then it would be like $3,200 or so. In Uganda, it's about half and half of that, right? So what did I say, 1,500? So it's about like maybe, actually I don't know what it is now. Is it like $800? It might be like $800 for the 1 hour permit, and then $1,600 for the 4 hours. But because he's ISO speed, I wonder if he's able to get like a special permit from the government, being like, let me spend the whole freaking day with the gorillas. My God, I'm so jealous if he was able to do that. I would love to just film all day with the gorillas, man.
Gorillas are so cute. They're just little tiny little monkeys. Well, big monkeys. She not liking us. Hey, what?
But one thing I don't understand this. If he didn't live stream, if this wasn't live streamed, why the quality so bad? Sorry, I'm speaking broken English. I was thinking of that one joke was like, if not friendly, why friendly shaped, or whatever that thing is, right? But yeah, I don't understand, like, if this isn't live stream, why wasn't he using his proper camera equipment? Because like this feels like it was shot with an iPhone, or like maybe some kind of action camera. Like, yeah, you can see here, like, because of how sharp everything is and all that. Why wouldn't he? I don't understand.
We're in Rwanda hiking.
Okay, so this is clearly
for
action.
gorillas.
Yeah, these all feel like iPhone shots.
This moment is one of the moments that turned me into a man, and what surprised me is that it's not that scary as it seems. Once you're with them, like, you just get this feeling of like everything's gonna be okay and everything's gonna be all right. I had a baby gorilla come to me and lay with me and talk to me. Gorillas are so cute. They're just little tiny little monkeys, well, big monkeys. She not liking us. Hey, what? Yo.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange. Maybe they're saving all the good stuff for later. What did they do in Uganda then? Where's the transcript? Uganda. Where is Uganda? Here? 4534.
Like, how big is like the foot? Then I met the
Estimated.
Get it, come on.
Give a nigga.
Right now, though.
Cute. They look such a cute moment for me. I never even seen a baby rhino before. Baby rhinos are just so cute. They look like little tiny dinosaurs.
What's the most exotic thing y'all got on your menu? He said ostrich, oxballs, and crocodile.
He got some good food. I went to this restaurant. It was called the Carnivore Restaurant. Man, I take that all types of meat. They had cow balls, ostrich, chicken, lamb, bowl. Oh, God, I miss it.
Who made these bowls? Why the bowl's good?
No, but I met the tallest man in Africa. He was 8'1". He was just such a friendly guy. And we played basketball. He didn't even have to literally dunk the ball. The size of his foot was like the size of my head. You could probably like see a clip of me like licking his feet. I wanted to really see how big It's like the foot. Then I met the fellow. That's my God, man. I met Tank. Me and him actually have so much history. We met, I think maybe around 3 years ago on a Discord call. Yeah, he was a cool, amazing kid. If he keeps continuing the path that he's going on right now, I think Tank's right too. So he came from Ghana actually, and all the people from.
Hey Rachel, what's happening? Rachel's in the chat. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Happy Monday. It's really good at organizing my notes. It's faster than doing it myself. The camera's used. Probably just want to bring his phone for ease, I guess, when hiking and around the gorillas. I mean, yeah, I would understand that iShowSpeed wouldn't have any cameras on him, but he's got a full-on crew. You know, they clearly use. We saw some of the footage. He's one of his guys is using probably a Sony FX whatever, right? I'm surprised they didn't bring, or like I said, my assumption is that maybe they did get the proper filming, but they just haven't shared it, or maybe they're gonna make some content with it later. Or I guess then the other answer is oh, they didn't want to bring any fancy cameras because it's tough. But if that's the case, man, what the heck? I should have reached out to him. In an alternate world, I would have been like, yo, bring me on this trip, because I will bring all the fancy camera. I know how to hike with this this stuff, okay? Currently color grading terribly underexposed and incorrect white balance footage, and it's a nightmare. Yeah, is it at least raw footage? Sorry to hear that. Well, currently I haven't done any of my color grading that I'm supposed to, or editing my Mongolia video. Instead, I'm kind of, I've been distracted. I don't know where Uganda is, but okay. So anyways, my point is, shout out to iShowSpeed for being a pioneer in the space, but definitely this is one of those things I'm planning to do. And it seems like we have the right equipment, or I'm basically almost there. I think I have most of the parts. I just need to purchase the Starlink. And shout out to Cyronius in the chat. He's helping me. Most likely, I think I'll try to go with one of those Bella Box solutions to do the encoding when I'm traveling, and then hook up a few of those modems or the cell coverage as needed, and then I can hook up the Starlink, blah, 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 blah. So, but yeah. He might just be doing it to get that specific look too. You never know. They're trying to ape the lo-fi phone and GoPro look they think the online people are used to. I refuse to believe that, man. He's got enough smart people around him, right? Clearly he's got a bunch of proper film crew and stuff. Yeah. How often do you get to encounter a gorilla? Even just selfishly, if I was a cameraman with speed, I would just assume that the cameraman would have been I won't get another chance to photograph or film a gorilla, a silverback gorilla. And you're telling me to leave my camera behind and just bring my iPhone? You know, I just refuse to believe any... I just refuse to believe that they would be okay with that. I would have been look, even if my camera breaks, I'll bring it. Let me bring it. And then they have porters, right? So it's I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I refuse to believe that. But yes, Rachel, hopefully your editing goes well. As you say that, I feel like I should start editing myself. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to now go into edit mode. It is almost 9 p.m. I feel like I can edit for at least 1 to 2 hours, right? That should be a good enough time. So I'm firing up the TikTok, and we're going to kick off a live stream on TikTok at the same time. But this time, I'm not going to play any music in the background. Apologies, guys. We're just going to raw dog it, okay? Just me and the mic and this video. Because I need to test something. I need to test if TikTok has been giving me this shadow ban warning, because the music I play, one of them maybe falls through the cracks and is considered some kind of, how you say, copyright infringement or something. So in the spirit of testing things out, I'm going to try doing this stream on TikTok without any music. I guess the other thing I could do is I can mute the audio. Actually, hold on. I guess I could do that. I can just hit the mute audio. Actually, no, we're going to keep it for now, and then let's just test it. So we're now streaming on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Boom. How fun. And we're about to start doing proper editing. So we are now in Mongolia episode 2. Let's refresh ourselves on where we landed last. Let me test the audio levels here. Okay, that's not bad. Smart people might think this will sell better as a presentation. It's like found footage movies. Sometimes they do really good SFX in those, but shoot it on a phone or camcorder for the look. Dude, you're stretching. I know you're doing devil's advocate, Fed, but let's be real, man. He's surrounded with some of the most technically astute cameramen, you would assume, because they're like, they know how to do live streams with like spotty internet and all the technicalities that come with it. They know how to do all that, and they clearly have all the right cameras. To not have one person on that trip being like, yo, I have my tiny little camera, it's fine, I'll just put it around my neck, or I'll stick it in my backpack, right? Or the porter can carry it. And once we're with the gorillas, you chill there for an hour. So you have enough time to then just open up the backpack, take your camera out, take a photo, take some video, put it back in. Yeah, listen, I've done enough treks now where I'm like, no shot in hell would I ever leave my cameras behind. But okay, you know what? I don't know. They make SFX that you would definitely want to shoot on a cinema camera, but they shoot it on a potato for the right look. Okay. I would never do it like that. I would shoot it all on a good camera, but you do see stuff like that a lot. I just don't expect that from an ISO speed level production. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we weren't there. Maybe their cameras all broke down that day. It was like an act of God. But yeah. All right, let's go ahead and start editing my second video for Mongolia. Oh, by the way, Rachel, or anyone who just popped in, new lens alert. Right now I'm testing it for this stream. This is probably not the lens I'll use because it is a bit too wide and it's a bit too dark for what I need usually. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But right now we are using this 14mm lens. It's a Viltrox 14mm f4 lens for my Nikon ZR. So super wide. Yeah, quite nice. And I'm going to use it hopefully for an upcoming film project, something that I'll be shooting for the rest of the year as I travel. I've got some ideas in mind where I needed a super wide angle lens that's very compact. So yeah, but for now, it's cool that I'm able to test it here and see how it looks. And I quite like it. That 14mm is going to do some real cool things for me, I think. Although Fed has gotten me excited or thinking about like, should I look into a 12mm or a 9mm? But hopefully this 14 should be the sweet spot. So that's my quick little update as well. Fed says, even Forrest Gallant will have some silly phone insert shots for no reason when the rest of the shots look natural. Fed, what is up with you and the typos today? Mages shooting wildlife, and now we've got Natural Geographic. Yo, that's actually kind of funny. Imagine if there's like you get tricked into, it's like when you see those parody. Okay, I did a trip to Palestine, Israel-Palestine over 10-15 years ago, back when I was in college. I did like a backpacking trip, and I still remember in Bethlehem, which is part of Palestine, you cross the wall, whatever, they had a bunch of these, oh my God, they had so many store brands that were clearly ripoffs of all the major brands. Because if you're living there, you're thinking to yourself, what are these companies going to do? What are they going to do? Sue us? Are they going to come all the way here to get their money from us or like get us in trouble? Like, you know, we welcome you to come here, right? So I remember a few of them. I forgot all the rest, but there's one. It literally looked like the Starbucks logo. So the same kind of green and this like a lady in the circular icon. But the name of the coffee shop was Stars and Bucks. So it's like Stars and with an apostrophe Bucks. And then there's one that was like a ripoff of Toys R Us, and I forgot what it was called. and there's a few others like that, which it just makes you laugh. It's just like it's the most obvious, blatant ripoffs. But what are they gonna do? What is Starbucks gonna do? Come out here, you know? So, anyways, the Natural Geographic. I should put that. I should start that as a company called the Natural Geographic. Make it look everything like National Geographic, and then on my social media pages, I'll put like ambassador to Nat Geo, right? But it's really Natural Geographic. Oh my God. And then all the invites from all the biggest creators and companies will come in and be like, what? You're an award-winning Natural Geographic photographer. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm going on a tangent there. We love new lenses, says Rachel. Yes, yes. I love not spending money at the same time though. So that's the forever battle. I should have never mentioned those 9mm, 14mm more than wide enough. Yeah, you've cursed my wallet at this point, Fed. But yeah, we'll see. You know what? I have to learn to be okay with what I got. So unless for some reason I'm like, yo, the 9mm gets me the shot that I can't get otherwise, then yeah. I'm multitasking and still plotting out vantage points to shoot the parade and chatting at once. Listen, I'm having fun with you. You know me, man. I said this on one of the streams. I don't know why, but I get so I'm very OCD maybe about typos. It's like, you know, the people who say your and your, but they use the wrong ones. It's like those kind of things that it doesn't like bother me viscerally, but when I see it, it does stand out to me, you know, and then I question it for a second and then I move on. So anyways.
Oğlum bir yılday, kolda joktun kıyınay, Ustaranın yüzünde yavdarılan dünyay. Şuşede toylap, sorun bir baylay, Hatta yüzlep gelgende söyleseyim baylay. Beygatmay gelipsin tağalanın Oltır oğlum bir yılday, kolda joktun kıyınay, Ustaranın yüzünde yavdarılan dünyay.
But yeah, to your point earlier, I mean, you can see the difference in the quality. Although I wasn't shooting in that, I'm curious if I had shot in the Apple log, possibly the quality would be much better. But here, for instance, this is shot with an iPhone, right? So I just happened to catch a moment with the iPhone. And then when we switch over to the mirrorless, obviously the quality gets so much better. So like ideally, I would never have had to use like an iPhone for these captures. It's just, you know, I happened to need to catch a moment when I was missing. But if you have the time to plan, if you're on a guerrilla track and you know you're going to all pause, why would you degrade it using an iPhone? Okay, and then the song kicks in here. I speak a little bit about the context, what just happened, my feelings about that kinship concept from earlier, while we see a beautiful eagle shot coming slowly at us with some maybe dramatic music. I'm not sure yet what the mood should be. Probably not anything too overly dramatic. It probably, actually, yeah, I take it back. It shouldn't be dramatic. It'll just be more like soft, ambient. And then voiceover continues picking in here. I might just speak through the entirety of the intermission, I think. So I'll need to work on the scripting here still. But blah, 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 blah. More speaking and scene as we kick in here. And then it'll fade away. We go to the next shot. I'm multitasking. Oh yeah, sorry. It's a pain in the ass trying to grade it in the same using those tiny sensor cameras. Yeah.
Gelip sıra bastı geçindi, Laz karalım bağırışta yalanday.
Okay, now that I've stepped away from this for a few days and like looking at it again, I think that's not a bad. I think that's not a bad sequence of shots. There's something. Obviously, the song he's singing is more of that kind of throat singing Mongolian style, more energetic, right? But to start with the shot as we fade in, I think the fading in effect is good for this, and I think this is a cool shot to start with, because then we're going from the home and into like, and the title is The Hunt, I think, right? And then the quote had the word chase in it, so you're kind of starting to set the scene that we're about to see what the eagle hunters do when they go out for their livelihood. The drone footage I do offends my sensibilities. Fed, I feel the same way because I take really bad drone shots. For now. We will improve our craft on that as well. I have a whole... Man, I have so many places to share with you guys. If I can only work faster, okay? If only. If only. Hold on a second. Can I show this to you guys? Hold on. Because I mentioned before, I did a 1 month trip to Vietnam, and on that trip, the beginning of it, I was there with a friend the whole time, but she's like a drone photographer, and we went with like a drone photography expert, right? So she's like an award-winning drone photographer. And so we spent a whole month, and the first week of that, we did like a set itinerary with the lady, and she took us to places to do like photo shoots. And I didn't really care to do the drone stuff because that's not necessarily my niche, but it was really fun regardless. And the shots that we got and everything were just like something else. Hold on. I think I need to plug in my thing here. Let's let this play out first. Hold on. Okay, dang it. I don't have the right hard drive hooked in right now. Oh, wait, actually, I think it's right in front of me. Hold on. This might be the right hard drive. Basically, I have one of my hard drives has like the whole month of travel in Vietnam. Because I wanted to show you guys some of the shots. Well, it's not in this one. Dang it. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to find the thing. Where would it be? Videos, import 2024. Maybe here. 2025. D2? This one? Ah, found it. Aha. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got. I'm not going to go through everything, but Fed, because you're mentioning drones, I think I should have some of the drone shots here. None of these are edited. These are mostly all the raw footage, most likely, is my guess. But let's see. Let's see. Can I find Osmo Pocket? Yeah, so I was traveling with the Z9 Osmo Pocket, Mavic 2. Let's see if it loads. So some of these are not my shots, if I remember, because this is like, because again, especially for the drone stuff, I just didn't care as much, or that wasn't my interest per se. Uh-oh, where'd it go? So basically, we had spent a number of days with this photographer, and she specializes in drone shots. So she knows all the spots. Like, she has all these models in different villages or towns where, you know, basically as part of the trip in the workshop, she hires them. So these are all like kind of staged shots, if you will. So there's like this little kind of pond area where the ladies are, I don't know what they do with the flowers. They're like weaving it into something. I forget what they do. So then it turns into a nice, like, oh, while they're doing the stuff, you can film it and like try different angles. I didn't know what I was doing though. Honestly, I don't even remember if this is what I captured. I'm assuming I captured all these because I have it saved here. But yeah, like this is the Mavic 2 Pro. I think that's what it stands for. Whereas the one that I had was the Mini 4 Pro. And so I think one of them let me borrow their drone at times. Oh yeah, there's like the Mavic 3. Is that the better one, I'm assuming? Let's see. Yeah, so these are all the ones that still need to be edited. I'm assuming that's why it's pretty high exposure there. I have no idea. The point is, oh my God, guys, I have so many trips before we can get into this one because this is July 2024. And we're still on December 2023, I think. No. We're on February 2023. I think that was Mongolia. I forget. So we have plenty of trips left before I can finally get into this. But I want to at least see if I can share with you guys. Just, let's see. Where can I go to show you guys? Z9. These are just the MP4s, but basically as we were traveling from city to city, then I would capture some moments at nights. This is my friend that I was traveling with. So we did like a super early boat trip out somewhere to do a photo shoot. So this is just me doing my thing, trying to film as much as I can. So what you see here is like these big ass nets that the fishermen will set up to catch all the fish, right? And so it looks really cool at sunrise. So basically you see these nets get raised up, and then once the sun kicks in, you get some cool shots, obviously. And then the fisherman shows up here. So this is the guy that basically we got to photograph as he's like setting up for the day. So you know, and again, as always, I mentioned, whenever you see, not that I condone smoking, right? Yeah, at least it should not be good for your health, right? But my goodness, it always looks so cool when someone's smoking on camera. So I get why Hollywood does that. I made this point before, and I challenge anyone to show me proof otherwise. Every Hollywood film out there, there's always going to be a scene, unless it's like some super niche video where it's like, or a film where it only takes place in one room or whatever the hell. Show me a Hollywood film that doesn't have at least one scene where someone is smoking in the movie. It's just like, I feel like if you're in the industry, I'm assuming that's always a requirement where somewhere written there, it's like, okay, then get the smoke shot. Get that smoking shot. Actor, actress lights up a cigarette. Boom. You know, it's like you'll never see a movie without some moment of smoking in there. And for good reason, right? Because it looks very cinematic when you see all that smoke kind of haze up the room or cover up the face. It has like a badass element to it, right? So, but yeah, it's no different for travel vlogs when you can see one of the locals just puffing away And obviously these are unedited, so this is what we're gonna be doing, right? Eventually, when we get to this travel trip, I'll be doing all the color grading. You guys can watch behind the scenes as I look through each of these footage and figure out how to hopefully properly grade it, and have a critical eye. But keep in mind, even at this point, even now I still don't know what I'm doing properly. So there's probably a lot of things I'm doing incorrect. Technically speaking, probably in terms of the exposure levels and all that kind of stuff. But so these are some of the clips that we'll have some fun editing eventually. And so while our instructor and my friend were filming with the drone, because I just didn't care as much about the drone as much as I did my camera stuff. So I just kind of did my camera filming. They did the drone work. So... Man, that's how you know the difference between like a pro drone photographer and like a normie like me is like the confidence that they have to stick their hand up and just like grab the drone. Because I would just be like, never, I would lose my hand, or I'm sure I would accidentally do something wrong. Hold on. So there should be some really cool shots here, you know what I mean? Like, at least for a travel montage, for a vlog as well. I got to figure out the concept for it. But we got some. All right. Oh, and then this is like, I shot this with the Z9. So again, you could hear how loud that my voice was there. I'm so excited to now start traveling with the ZR, having that 32-bit float, never worrying. Yo, what's happening? King Crux in the chat. King says, Optimum Quad meant a different language now that I don't know what you're saying. Quad emendare potes sunt artes tua. TUAE. Welcome. Welcome to the stream, King Kruk. Thanks for being here. Fed says, maybe I just need to buy one that can fly my ZR. Ooh, that would be cool. Talk to Swiss Army Cinema. He's like the king of drones. I have a lousy one, the Mavic Air 2. The one with the Hasselblad camera was released a bit later. I should have waited. Smoking keeps you fit and thin. All right, I'll take your word for it. Rachel says, I'm. Okay. I am also. They have tons of safety measures with the sensors. Rachel says, I'm a drone pilot. Licensed, lots of experience. I would never do that, to be honest. Well, maybe you're using like the proper drones. Like, are you talking about like those heavy duty ones where you can stick a DSLR to it? By the way, Rachel, you should talk with a fellow chatter in our community, Swiss Army Cinema. He's in the, is he in the Discord? I think so. But he shared a picture before where his drone, I think he says it weighs like 30 kgs or 60 kgs, and it's massive. Like, the thing looks like as tall as the desk or something. It looked insane. So yeah, it's cool to know that we got some proper drone operators in the chat. Just let it land on the raft. Why catch it? But like I said, they have a level of confidence which I think I will never have, but it's very badass when you see them do it. Back. So yeah, this will be very fun once we get to this trip. And this is just from day, this is one of the first days, right? So then we got like plenty of days. Oh, and this is also the trip where my Nikon Z9 died on me. Like, literally, not just like dying on me randomly, the motherboard got fried. And like, I was in Vietnam, I think on the second week of the trip, everything got fried and nobody knew how to fix it. We went to like a local dealer, like a Nikon person who fixes things, couldn't do anything about it. And thankfully Nikon was considerate enough, like, honestly, like, so nice of them. The Nikon Middle East Africa team that I work with, I told them about this, like, because I was like, hey, like, everything just crashed, I don't know what's going on. They literally express mailed one of their Z9s to me in Vietnam from Dubai. They shipped it all the way to Vietnam as quickly as they could, right? It still took like, I think, a week for it to arrive just because of all the logistic stuff, but very kind of them. So there was a middle part of this trip where I wasn't able to shoot with my camera, which was very sad because there's a lot of cool moments that I ultimately ended up missing. And I was testing out some of the action cameras. The Osmo Pocket 3 really was a lifesaver, quite a bit throughout this trip. So a lot of this will be like vlogging style with the Osmo Pocket. Let's see, where can I find Insta 360? Oh yeah, you can't watch that. GoPro. I did a little bit of scuba diving. Drone. Oh yeah, so this is what my friend captured, I think. Because then she was doing some drone shots of like these fishing boats from a distance, and it looks really cool. Anyways, point is, you can see there's like a freaking month of travels. This was in, oh, I forget the name of this place. Oh, and then one of the fun, man, I was so happy this worked out. They'll cut you to the bone. Oh wait, hold on. I'm still a novice at flying drones. I need to put in more hours. Even though they have a lot of sensors, you don't catch a drone. It's not about confidence. It's just risky behavior. Yeah, clearly it's risky behavior. But oh, you know what? There might be a reason for that on this boat. Although I think she does it all the time. There's like, it's like, again, it's one of those where, is it necessary? Maybe not always. But here it might have been necessary because we were on this boat where sometimes the landing pad, if you have one, may not be necessarily the most stable. Whereas like if you have the skills to do it, I guess just grabbing it from the air could be equally safe or not. I don't know. Rachel says, nah, just the Mavic 3 Pro Cine is our go-to. Those propellers are no joke. They'll cut you to the bone. Yeah, and maybe that's the other thing. The drones maybe that they were using, I don't know, maybe. Now with the ban though, I haven't touched a drone in forever. What do you mean a ban? That's the other reason I didn't get too into drones, was just because of all the legal loopholes whenever you travel with it. Like, oh my God, I've had so many issues when I've tried traveling in Zimbabwe. I ran into a huge ass ordeal with it. It's such a headache. We don't have a ban here, but the zones you can't fly in rules are ridiculous now. The lousy quality of Mine's camera and the restrictive rules where you can't fly anywhere now makes it so I don't bother. Yeah, that's basically how I felt. But when you do get those licenses, if you are licensed to fly somewhere, my God, if you get the permits. So this was a really cool thing. I mentioned it maybe on stream before, but at some point a few years ago when I was doing my constant travels, I ended up buying one of those Fujifilm Instax. It's like one of the Polaroid cameras that you can also hook up via Bluetooth to your phone, and then you can print out your photos. So you don't have to even take photos with this camera, the Instax, but you can even send photos that you've taken on other devices, and then you can just use the Instax camera as a printer because it's a Polaroid and you can just print it out. So what I would do is I would take photos with my Nikon Z9, for example. I would then quickly edit. I would edit it in my phone, right? So I'd have it via SnapBridge or whatever, get a lower res version, edit via mobile Lightroom, just to touch it up a bit. And then I would connect it to the Instax and print it out as a Polaroid. And it turned out really cool. And this was one of those trips where I was able to actually do this consistently, where, you know, we were traveling for a month. So as much as possible, every time we had these photo shoots or I had the moment where I had some good shots, I would spend the time to then print out these photos of the locals and then give it to them. And it's like one of the coolest gifts. I recommend it to anyone if you're like into travel photography and you're trying to think about, you know, sometimes you feel awkward as well when you capture photos of strangers. But if you were able to get the capture and then give it to them and show them how they look, and hopefully it looks nice, it's like one of those very cherished, memorable experiences. Because depending on the locations you go, the chances of people being able to get this type of photo of themselves, it's like very rare. It's a privilege to be able to have these expensive cameras and to shoot with it and all that. So yeah, and I did this in Uganda and a few other countries, and yeah, it's like really cool when you can give it back. Because yeah, it always feels bad if you take some really cool shots of some strangers, but they don't even know you took the shot, or they'll never actually see the final product. Because sometimes strangers will come up to me and like they want their photos taken because they see I'm a camera guy. But then, you know, it's like it's fun for them to just get their photos taken, but they never actually get to see what they look like. So anyways, DJI was banned in the US. What? Wait, really? DJI was banned in the US. All new drones, old ones work still, but since leaving the company, I worked for full time. I didn't feel the need to invest in a new drone until a new prosumer drone, that is. American CEO, etc. Wait, well, again, I'm so out of the loop, I guess. I haven't been back in the States in a while. They freaking banned drones? Okay. Well, damn. So you can see I was able to print out one for both of them, basically. So this was a photo of that kid smiling there. Oh, yeah. Basically, this moment here, I took a photo of it as well, and then I was able to give it to him. It was fun. I hope to do more of that kind of stuff in the future. Let's see. There was like this albino buffalo that I saw, by the way. So this will be fun once we start color grading. This is when we were doing this hike. They have these like bamboo forests and everything. Yeah, it's just a fun ass trip. Vietnam is a beautiful country. Yeah. So we'll get to this eventually, guys. Don't worry. Never you worry. A full-on month of this. So, but in order to get there, I gotta get through my Mongolia video first. So. I heard they started up a new sister company now with headquarters in the US. Same models, just... Wait, why did they get banned, though? I don't understand. What was the... They don't even ban TikTok. Or is TikTok even banned still? I just remember that was like a long-ass battle that I don't actually know what ever ended up happening. Amber, I just discovered, or someone just told me that DJI is banned in the US. When did that happen? What was the reasoning for it? And is it, I'm assuming it's only about the drones, not like DJI holistically?
As of December 23, 2025, the U.S. FCC set restrictions on new imports of foreign-made drones, including DJI. This doesn't ground existing DJI drones you already own. They're still legal to use, but new models may face import issues if they aren't already FCC approved. So your current gear is fine, but future DJI releases could be harder to buy in the U.S.
Why did they ban it?
DJI isn't fully banned in the U.S., but as of December 23, 2025, new DJI drones can't be imported or sold unless they already had prior U.S. approval. The reason is U.S. national security concerns, with fears about data security and reliance on Chinese tech. Existing DJI drones are still legal to use, but future models face restrictions unless special approval is granted.
So wait, which drone companies are based in the U.S.?
Well, partner, if you're looking for U.S.-based drone outfits, one notable name on the ranch is Skydio. They make them smart autonomous drones, and their headquarters is in California. There's also Teal Drones, sitting out of Utah, who focus on military and enterprise. And if you're talking heavy-duty workhorses, Free Fly Systems out of Washington makes some serious film crew birds. So you got some homegrown options if you need them.
Man, I've never heard of any of those drones. Probably just want prop up U.S. drone manufacturers, so they claim spying. Gotcha. But yeah, who's gonna buy a U.S. made drone? I didn't even know I didn't know there was any brands that did it. They did the same with TikTok, and the U.S. bought TikTok. Yeah, I heard about stuff like that. I have no idea. Okay. Well, point is, shooting with drones is so complicated. The results are amazing. However, the ability to have unrestricted use of it seems to get harder and harder to do. So it's just like it was never worth the effort in my mind. So okay, what are we gonna do? Let me start grabbing some of these clips here. I think maybe one of these could work as well. I have to be less picky about how I do this. Let's think about it again. So I think story-wise, this still makes sense to start with the eagle hunters standing, posing, if you will. And then eventually we see they go off on horseback and then start to slowly show shots as they're climbing up the mountain. Okay, so assuming we stick with that, just try, let's see here. Probably will need to split this one a bit. But yeah, of course, there are those huge choppers you can fly a red camera on, but those cost an arm and a leg. Yeah, and imagine you need like the right permits and all that kind of stuff. I've seen tests of other drones than DJI, other channels on YouTube who wanted to test to see what was out there, and they always have issues. Well, the one I just recently discovered is Insta360. I didn't know that they had drones, but we saw it earlier on stream. Not today, but let's see. Insta360. They had some kind of cool drone concept where it's like a 360-degree AK-360 drone. The anti-gravity A1. But my assumption, I thought Insta360 was a Chinese company. Actually, I don't know. Is Insta360 a Chinese company? Yes. But that's kind of a crazy concept, which shouldn't be crazy to have a 360-degree camera on a drone. Yeah, so here, like, let's say if I get I already have an Insta360 X4, I believe. Let's assume I had something like an X5. Overkill with my wallet, but let's just say if I did get an X5. For the concept that I mentioned of getting like that backpack shot, obviously this could work nicely because you literally have 360 degree. I can choose the right angle, and you would have a super wide angle, obviously, to make the backpack in the shot. But then the question always comes down to, how does that resolution look? What does the quality actually look like once you find the framing? And I don't know, maybe it could look nice. But when you stack it up against, if I'm shooting 85% or more of this short film with a Nikon ZR, and you're getting that kind of nice, you know, red color science and all the other things that we're shooting in, and then you were to stick Insta360 shot in between, I feel like it just becomes so noticeable, you know? What is this? Insta360 Ace Pro 2. Yo, we were just talking about Polaroid printers. Wait, what is that? Was that a completely different product? Wait, did we just move to another product? Hold on. Insta360 Ace Pro 2 videography bundles. What was that printer? What the heck? Here, let me just go to learn more. Yo, I want that printer maybe. Oh, I mean, I guess I already have one, but I'm curious. You have my curiosity. Where'd it go? Crystal clear snaps. Just give me the printer. Fed says DJI is just far ahead of the other companies, so better pricing and features. It's like all those cheap action cameras with image quality that's worse than the GoPro. Here's my honest feelings about the hierarchy right now. I think it goes I'm gonna be honest. I've used GoPros in the past. The last one I have right now is the GoPro Hero 12. I've never honestly been a fan of GoPros. For whatever reason, maybe it's gotten better each time. But even with this Hero 12, the number of times I've had issues where it just, you hit the buttons and it doesn't work, or it turns on its own. It starts recording when you don't want it to. Like, there's just like all these random things that became so frustrating for me. And the quality, it wasn't always that bad, but it was just like the headaches of, and then I felt like the battery drained quickly. I don't know. There's like always things that made me feel like there's no other competitor. So what can I do? I can only use the GoPro, but it's frustrating. And then the Insta360 came out, and I feel like Insta360 just felt more innovative, and I was enjoying shooting with it a lot more as well. Whether it's like the 360 camera or like the GoPro, not the Go 2, right? Like the little tiny one. And then, so I thought maybe Insta360 was going to be surpassing GoPro, like potentially, like neck and neck. And then I guess DJI then comes out with their own version to respond to some of the cooler features of Insta360. And it seems like on the surface, the reviews are saying the DJI one is slightly better. So again, that's why I ended up getting this guy, the Osmo Nano. No, yeah, DJI Osmo Nano instead of the Insta360, whatever the thing is called. See, I've already forgotten what it's called because now I'm only thinking about the Nano. So yeah, I think it goes DJI, Insta360, GoPro. So I'm not a fan of GoPro, but then again, I don't shoot any action type footage. I have the original DJI Osmo Pocket and I don't use it much. Osmo Pocket, that's the other game changer. That made me go like, yo, this is the only action camera I need for my travels. The Osmo Pocket 3 became instantly, the moment I traveled on the first trip with it and then beyond, it immediately became like the obvious travel partner for me. Like, obviously, I shoot with my mirrorless, I shoot with my Nikon cameras. Those are the main ones. But then if I need that quick on-the-go filming, the Osmo Pocket 3 was so intuitive. It was so easy to set up. You get like it's like using a mini gimbal, right? You can hit the same shortcuts to go from front point of view, and then it flips around to do selfie mode. Very lightweight. I can stick it on my backpack strap. And yeah, so it just ended up getting stable footage, decent log footage. So I think it's like 10-bit D-Log, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just like super intuitive to use. So yeah, that changed my mind on DJI for that. So anywho, what were we watching here? Oh yeah, I'm trying to find accessories maybe. Where's that printer? I want the printer. Okay. You know what? It's not worth it. Oh no, hold on. One more try. Products. Products. Give me the accessories. Oh my god. So many accessories. I wonder if they make more money on accessories. Jesus. Oh, here it is. The pocket printer for Insta360. Oh, it only works with the Insta? Capture and print instantly. It's a Bluetooth printer. Ew. It has a watermark? Oh, no thanks. Disgusting. Okay, anyways. I do like those Osmo Pocket style cameras in theory with the gimbal, but I just hate shooting in delivery formats like H.264, 265. Also, the little magnetic NDs are a bit flimsy. They are flimsy, and I've lost a few of them for sure. But like I said, it's just so compact because it looks tall, but then if it has like an extra battery thing, right? So if you don't need it, you can film with the tinier version. You can just strap it on there. You know, it's got the micro SD, so you've got plenty of storage space. You can even live stream, right? I've never really tried that part of it, but I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the Osmo Pocket. and it's like, obviously it's just a sample size of one, but for all of my travel vlogging needs, it just, when I think of these action cameras, I always think of it as like, oh, it's just one of those like niche cameras where when there's a particular moment in my travel where possibly I'll need it, right? And then I'll use it for that moment, and then you put it away. Whereas with the Osmo Pocket, it instantly, like from the moment I started filming with it, it instantly became something I always had in my bag ready to go, along with my mirrorless cameras, where it's like you just never knew there's going to be a moment where you might want to use it, just to get the quick shots, get the selfie moment very quickly, or even just get a separate angle of, whatever it is, or get that, just put it on the backpack. It just became like, yeah, it's like every day I can film with the Osmo Pocket and know that it won't be as good, right, quality-wise, but it's beyond serviceable. It's like one level up from shooting with like the other action cameras, and you're able to get more film out of it. It's like nice stabilized footage and everything. I might need to cut it shorter. Let's see. Fed says I prefer shooting handheld with a small camera like the ZR. I get raw and it's stabilized, has autofocus that works great too. It's very light with a DX lens. My 16 to 50 is 135 grams, and I can easily carry the ZR with a tiny zoom like that anywhere. That is true. Yeah. So like, now keep in mind, I haven't really done a proper travel. I haven't done a proper trip since I got the Nikon ZR. So this is all pre-ZR, where I was shooting with the Z9, which is heavy duty, so it's not necessarily the one that I use right away for certain like day in the life shots. Plus, usually I'll have like a long lens on that guy. Then I have my Nikon Z6 III, but oftentimes when I was traveling, I might have a 24-70 or I might have an 85 millimeter on there. So I'm still using a bit of a more cinematic lens, if you will, or like a telephoto-esque. Like I didn't always want to have the secondary camera with a 20 millimeter, let's just say, because I might have more use getting still some wide, or like a cropped, like tight shots or whatever. So then the Osmo Pocket becomes like the just in case when I do need that wide angle selfie shot of me in the environment, or even the environment itself. I know I've got that ready to go. I don't have to spend the extra time to swap out lenses from even like a 24-70 or a 85 lens swapping to a 20 millimeter lens. I don't have to waste any time. I can just pull out the Osmo Pocket, get the wide angle shot. It's a bit more forgivable if the quality is not as good, because it's more like a selfie moment, or like a, it's like an in the moment kind of thing. Kind of like what you said, Fed, earlier about when you're justifying, let's say, ISO speed using iPhone footage for the gorillas, right? There's a bit more forgiveness for certain shots. And I don't necessarily disagree, at least with that part. So yeah, it just became like a don't waste time. Boom, you've got an action camera that does a bit more than just holding a GoPro and trying to get the shot. It just doesn't look as nice. You get the actual, it's like got a built-in selfie stick basically, so you can get like a wide angle, proper footage and all that kind of stuff. It'll be the full test run for 4 weeks in Spain now in a few weeks. Yeah. Now, the thing is, I keep hearing rumors about the Osmo Pocket 4. So, like, I feel like I'm obligated. Is that a word? I'm obliged? Obligated? I feel obliged to purchase the Osmo Pocket 4 when it comes out. Because if I love the Osmo Pocket 3 so much, I mean, come on, it can only get better. So... Okay, so that's fine. So I only need to use one of these shots. Basically, I figured this kind of horse, the horse's head is a little bit of a transition scene. So we got a shot here, camera points down, and then it depends how nicely I can do it. But either way, even if it's not nice, we see the scene change. We're in a different part of the mountain now. So either I just use that one, or I use this one, or I use this one. So even here, you can see the quality difference. The ZR turns on even faster than the Osmo Pocket cameras, I think. Yeah. Like I said, the Osmo Pocket doesn't replace a ZR. I mean, like, obviously, like, goes without saying. It's just more like there are sometimes moments where you do need the, you know, like whether you don't want to swap out lenses. So that's what I'm saying. So then the ZR, you can either, instead of putting a wide angle lens on it, you can end up using a more cinematic lens. I say cinematic, but it could be like a 50 or an 85 millimeter, something, you know, in the range that gives you some really crazy shots that you normally can't get. And you'll have a bit more confidence, or you'll still feel okay using that, because then it's like, okay, well, what if something comes super close up, you know, like an animal, a street cat, something comes into the moment and I don't have time because I'm stuck with this tight lens. It's like, well, okay, that's fine. I got my Osmo Pocket, boom, you get the shot. So yeah, it's just a nice backup for sure. But it's like it's like the best backup I've shot with of all the other action cameras. Most versatile, I guess. What is it? 1/3 of a second startup time for the ZR? I don't know. Like I said, I do have issues with the ZR starting up when I have all the cables hooked in to my PC for my streaming. But that's a very niche problem. ZR is around my neck and I only use one zoom at a time. Osmo Pocket only has one lens. Oh, by the way, I bought the cotton carrier. So I've got the cotton carrier. I need to start testing a few of these things and make sure if I have all the other lenses. FYI, so I mentioned 2 of the potential projects that I've got for March, April. Those have been greenlit. So now I'm starting to make sure, do I have all the gear necessary? Because both of these are both travel projects. So definitely for one of them, I need to double check, do I have all the gear necessary to get everything for this project? Because the project is not mine, right? I'm very excited. I can't share much about it right now, but it's not like my project. I've been invited to be a part of a crew, and it's such a cool feeling. I feel like a proper professional now, because, like, you know, I'll have like a title to my, like, I have roles. I'm having roles and responsibilities. I feel like I'm in corporate again, you know, but in a good way. So I'm starting to think through, what do I have to pack? What am I missing in terms of the gear? And right now I think I just need to make sure I have, so I got the cotton carrier, and yeah, there might be a few other accessories I need to look into. However, one thing I also mentioned at the start of today's stream, the trip to Norway for the sled dog experience, that expedition, most likely, just because I haven't been able to hear back from the main guy that I was reaching out to. And it's also now, we're on the very last, we have one more week of Feb, if that. It's the 23rd, and what is Feb always end on like 28 or something, right? So yeah, we don't even have a full week before we're into March. So based on that guy's availability as well, it was looking at traveling out to Norway in like March 4th or 5th. So that just doesn't give me enough time, in my opinion. So I think I was rushing a bit too much. I've got 4 other trips lined up in March and April. So 75% likely that I'm going to pause on that trip and postpone it for some other time in the future. So we got A Bizarre 9. A Bizarre says, yo, JS, fine and interesting. Okay. I hear you. I accept you. I think what you're saying. You're saying, I just found an interesting live here. Are you saying that my live stream is interesting? In which case, I accept. Thank you very much. We do a lot of travel and wildlife video editing these days, as well as photo editing. I am a photographer and recently gone into filmmaking. We've also got our 2 cats, but one of my cats is MIA, but we got Nala over here. So sometimes she will grace us with her presence. Actually, let's give her a bit more time. It's been a while. AB says, sorry, my English is bad. No, don't worries, man. I apologize for calling you out on it. I'm just very slow today, so it took me a while to understand. But no, thank you very much, AB. I appreciate you tuning into the stream. It sounds like it's your first time here, so welcome. Like I said, usually I'll do a bit of photo and video editing and hanging out with the cats whenever they decide to be here. So this is Nala. Look at her. Look at her just being adorable. Yeah, good girl. What a pretty girl. Yes. Also, I usually play music right now, but I'm testing something. I am also live on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and then TikTok. So I've been testing out TikTok recently, but every time I've streamed on TikTok, I get hit with one of these they punish me. They say that I'm I don't know, they don't give me the reason, but I get like this shadow ban thing that they tell me. So I've been trying to figure out what's causing it, and I'm thinking maybe it's like the music that I play. Even though I've got the right copyrights, maybe one of the songs accidentally or whatever gets mislabeled. So yes, so we got our cats here, and then I'm just working on my latest video, which is Mongolia. So let me hop back over there as we're... Oh, let me fix that. Boom. Okay, anyways, enough of my cats. Let's get back to this. Right now, I'm just working through my episode 2, where I'm trying to put together some of this footage of these hunters. We went out for some hunting and horseback riding through the mountains. And I'm trying to find all of the potential footage that fits that theme of being out on a hunt. And I'm trying to map it to this guy singing. So we got the beginning part. I can probably cut that part a bit. Let's see. This part's fine. The reason I want to keep this part, even though there's not much in the shot, like this guy's not in focus, it's pointing at the guy up ahead. It's just more, there's a lot of motion. There's a lot of motion captured here. And I think I'm okay with that, because it just makes it feel a bit more lively. Like you can see my camera angle shifting around is a bit bumpy. So it conveys a bit more of like adventure in my mind, even if the shot itself doesn't really fix on anything proper. So I think having a few seconds of this is okay. And then here it becomes a bit more clear, right? We're focusing on the subject. It's properly in focus. But there might be too much of it. So let me see how I can trim it down. And I'm trying to map it to the song. So maybe this one, let's go ahead and stabilize this. And I think when that guy does that throat singing thing, maybe that's a good transition point. So maybe we need to cut it all the way here. And then, hear me out, as they say. Something like that. Maybe. That's not too bad. I was thinking I might do a fade in effect, but this could also look good as is. Let me see. Possibly. Let's see here. It's not bad. Oh, so here's another example, right? So this was shot with the iPhone. This is shot with the iPhone, but I was shooting in Apple Log at the time. So back in this trip, I stopped doing this because it just took up too much space on my phone, and I didn't want to do the whole setup of having like a portable SSD hooked up to my phone. I've had a nightmare situation with that, by the way. So, but in the past, I had my iPhone, I had the Blackmagic app, I shot an Apple log, and then I had an ND filter on my iPhone just to properly get everything adjusted. So then this is what I would film in Apple log, which is I think like 10-bit, whatever. And it's not bad. It's like definitely very usable. And you get very stable shots too. But again, it's just like at some point you still hit a ceiling in terms of the color grading quality that you can get out of it. So it just still becomes a bit noticeable at some point. Usually, and especially like, yeah, like right now, for instance, when it's pointing at the sky, you can see you don't get as much of that dynamic range to get the clean shots. Now this is a decent transition. Is there a better one here though? Or can I use this maybe? Ideally I can use this, but... I still haven't gotten an answer in my mind of like, what shots do I show here? Because we've got a number of cool shots from this trip, right? So I could repurpose some of this, showing the eagle in flight as part of this hunt. So I might even use, yeah, because we use some of the clips here, right? So let's say from here. Yeah, I feel like I do need to use some of this, right? Because if this this verse is about the hunt, the key components of showing the hunt is what? The eagle hunter himself on horseback with his eagle. So you get the full picture. That's how they go for the hunt. Seeing them riding into the mountains, because obviously that's them venturing off into the wild to do the hunt. A few scenes where you can see them searching for the animal. So I think we got one of those where they got the binocular. And then showing when they release the eagle to, ideally, you know, capture the prey, which I don't have footage of, right? So unfortunately, I'm missing that key component of seeing a successful hunt. But still, that way you show they've gone up the mountain. At the top of the mountain, they release the eagle. Eagle is now circling the air or circling the sky in search of the prey. So I feel like showing some of that does also make sense. And then the problem comes into play at the end of like, what do I show as the finale? Because I don't have a successful hunt. So in lieu of that, what can we show? I have footage of the horse riders charging at the camera, but that's not really a proper hunt. They don't like run down a fox or they don't run down a rabbit, right? They shoot it from a distance or they release the eagle from a distance. So the galloping shots don't really play into a practical hunt, but it can convey a bit of a hunt because it's more high energy, like whatever, adventurous. But it's something I still can't figure out if it meshes into this verse or not. And then alternatively, what do I show when the eagle? I guess the best one that I have as far as like showing the ending of this would just be, I think I have a shot of the eagle once it lands here. So we have like footage. I think I have a few of these where you can see the eagle having returned, and you know you see it like munching on some meat. So it could just end with this to convey, you know, in its own way that there was a hunt that happened and you're seeing now the eagle is it's got its prey. It's not like the most ideal, right? It's just like one of those, in a perfect world we would have captured the proper hunt, but we don't live in that perfect world. So maybe instead I just end with this to kind of showcase like these are some of the feelings of being on the hunt. And then this is the other question, do I show this or not? I could show this at the very beginning as well. If there's a place where this fits in. It could fit there, or hold on a second. I have an idea. It might not be a good one though. What if, hear me out. Hold on. So we have these intermission scenes, right? Where you see the eagle in flight. What if I reverse the order? So as part of the verse, I use one of these shots where the eagle is being released, where you literally see the eagle, the hunter releasing the eagle, and it's, you know, barreling straight towards something, right? And that could be like the end of the verse. And then when the intermission is supposed to kick in with the eagle, instead of the eagle in flight, I show one of these when the charge happens. So I can do a slow motion start to finish of when the hunters are charging towards the camera on a horseback, right? So it's just kind of flipping it. So the intermission here wouldn't be the eagle in flight. It would just be taking like one of those moments that I had, because I do have one that I haven't shown yet, or I have a few actually. So it could be like, you know, even one of these moments. So just having this, but in its entirety play out as I give a bit of context and voiceover. Okay, you know what? I'm leaning towards that because this is also very cinematic. I have enough of these moments as well. So if I take one of those charges racing towards the camera, that becomes our intermission. So now we're breaking it up where it's not like every intermission is always of the same thing, of like an eagle flying in the air, which is actually probably better because it's just spicing it up a bit, adding a variety. Okay, we've cracked the code. Yes, this is a good moment on stream. Okay, we need these moments, and it might actually still be a bad idea. So don't get me wrong, but I think I've discovered one answer to this problem. So what does that mean? Oh, okay, I'm excited. This means this verse, we want to end with an eagle in flight. So now I need to re-look through all the footage that I have. Let's see which of these flying shots fits best into the scene. So this one could work because we do see that the eagle is being released by the hunter here. But I think the landing wasn't necessarily as good to complete the story, because I think this one, I think it landed on the ground. Also, we see the GoPro on its head, which is not bad, but it is a bit distracting, I guess, of oh, I know which one would work best here. Oh, I have the answer, and my question is, do I want to show it then? Okay, I have my answer, I think. Although, hold on a second, because we do have the, let's see. How does this shot look like? So this is the GoPro point of view. My point is, I was thinking I need to use a GoPro point of view shot as part of the hunt, because now we're seeing like from the eagle's perspective when it's in search of its prey. So I think one of these shots needs to be, because this obviously feels like a hunt, right? We're like seeing a version of a hunt from the eagle's perspective. The eagle is searching, looking for its prey, or in this case, obviously, it's going to the owner or to the hunter. This is the version where it doesn't actually go, it lands somewhere else. So I don't think this one makes as much sense because we don't get a clean landing, if you will. So that can still be an intermission shot. Let's go to the next one here. This one could also work, but I think I have my eyes set on another version. Just because like the landscape looks quite different here compared to some of the earlier shots that we have of the whole group of hunters out in the top of the mountain. So I feel like visually speaking, there might be a different shot I need to use. Let's see. It is a cool shot though. So that could still be an intermission. This is the one. So I feel like this one probably makes the most sense because you can even see this is from the exact same trek, right? So we saw some of the footage earlier. Let me go ahead and copy this over. Let's see. So these guys here, when we show this shot, it's from the same trek. So you got the dude with the same hat here and everything. So then to show at some point, let me just copy it over here. And then the question becomes, how do we want to show this? But this can become the hunt itself, right? So this is how we close off that verse. And the question also is, do I show this in slow motion or do we just show it like this? I feel like this is the one. Let me drag this over. Let's give it some space. Let's see how much space it takes up. Man, I hate dealing with all these audio tracks. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like mess it up somehow. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So if it's something like this, boom, 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 people are, whatever the shots are, these are all placeholders. I just want to see if I play it in its normal speed, start to finish, does it fit with where we've inserted it? Let's see. Oh wait, hold on. I put it in the wrong spot because technically it should end a little bit. It should be here somewhere because we want to end with him. Okay, let's try from here. It's not bad, but could be better. Let's see. Technically, I feel like this part should start there. Hold on. Yeah, I feel like with the song, it feels like when he does, I can't even explain it, but there's a moment there where he sings differently, and I feel like that's when the camera stabilizes, and it feels a bit better as a starting point. I don't mind this. I actually don't mind this at all as a way to end it. And maybe fade it out. Let's see. Maybe. Hold on. Not bad. Not bad. Or I feel much better right now with this ending, because that was my biggest struggle, is like, how the heck do I end this chapter about the hunt without a successful hunt? And to me, the closest I can get to showing the completion of a hunt is showing the eagle in flight. Because when you see the eagle in flight, it obviously conveys like it's been released to search for the prey. So ideally, I would want to show a shot of the eagle in flight. But then here came the other issue. If I use one of the shots where the eagle is coming towards me because I used my camera to capture it, then it looks like the eagle is coming towards me. And I don't know, it doesn't convey the same feeling. Versus using a point of view from the eagle, because now you feel like you're immersed into the actual eagle's experience. However, I wonder, does it make sense to still do this kind of a dual screen, or should I just use a full screen of this one? I don't even know if, I forget what this shot even looks like. Hold on. Let's say, let's just drag these guys out. I like completely forget what the original shot looked like. Because obviously I cropped it, right? So what did I crop? Let's go to video. Let's just reset everything. Okay, yeah. So it's like a typical GoPro shot, which means if I zoom in, the problem is we end up losing quite a bit of the shot. Versus if I leave it as is, then obviously it doesn't look as cinematic, or we're getting this kind of wasted space on the sides. So for now, it's like either you zoom in all the way, and the question is, how much of the eagle's head do we keep versus how much of the view? Because I feel like you need a bit of the view, right? Because it looks weird to just point at the eagle's head. Because if you're trying to convey the point of view of the eagle, that probably means you need to see what it's seeing, right? So if it was something like this, would this work? Let's see. .56. And then Damn, because this does, I feel like this does feel a bit cooler, right? To see a wide angle. What do I start with? How did I show it in the beginning? Okay, so it was the same landscape. Oh shoot, what did I hit here? What the heck? Oh no, decisions. Come on. Okay. What was it, 60 frames per second? Yeah. Switch it to 40% speed. Oh, wait, no. Okay, so the question becomes, is this better to show, or obviously here it looks terrible. So this is where we would fade in like we did in the intro. So it could be this. Okay, I'm okay with this approach, but you clearly see I'm in a brainstorming mode here. Let's just see how this plays out first. Hold on. because this shot also has value. So I'm of two minds here, and I'm struggling. What about half and half? Okay, this is today's. I made like the slightest of progress, but comes with it a lot more like headaches of like, okay, I have like the semblance of a good idea of how I can end this verse, but there's so many iterations or variations of this that could work, and the question becomes, what is the right one, right? Which one's the one that would work best? But I do feel comfortable where, like, let's say for tomorrow's stream, I think I feel with a fresh start, I should be able to finish this verse because we've been stuck on this for some time. But having a good ending makes a lot of the middle ground a bit easier for me to deal with. So now it's like we get these shots. Nothing changes here, so we see them on land, or standing. Then they go on the horse. We see them trekking through, going higher and higher up the mountain. Eventually, you see them disembark, if you will. Then we have some footage where you'll see them looking through the binocular, as they're searching for their prey. Dude is smoking his cigarette over there, so we just get a few different like ambient shots. And then ultimately, there will be a few shots in the middle where you see the eagle on its own. So kind of like what we have here. So you'll have a few of these kind of shots, right? Nice cinematic, slow motion, eagle, blah, blah, blah. But then ultimately coming back to being with the hunter. And then by the end of it, we play this out in some form or fashion. Still haven't figured out what's the right way to visualize it. But ending with this kind of point of view shot of the eagle as it comes up and sticks the landing, if you will. So this is as close as we're going to get to a completed hunt by seeing the eagle fully going, from starting point A to B, and boom. Unfortunately, because we don't have a real hunt, this is what we got. But I think this should work. And then comes back to the dude ending the song. Boom, 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 we're done. Then for our next intermission, that's where we say we'll swap it. So now I'll probably I'll have to find one of the best shots that I have of the eagle hunters when they're charging. So it could be like one of these ones. So some of these I've already used, which I'm okay with, but it's like, let's say if we take this moment, and then the question also becomes, do I show it in slow motion or do we show it in real-time speed? So we have a number of these ones. We have a few others. Let's see. Where was it? Yeah, so we could also use some of these moments maybe. Let's see. So point is, just like the eagle intermission where it was in slow motion coming towards, like in flight, it could be like playing one of these moments, whichever one we choose. But as it plays out, the background music kicks in. I'm explaining a little bit of the context, or I give my parting thoughts of that previous verse about the hunt, what I felt being on the journey with them, seeing how tough it was having to do this in like frigid weather, searching for the animals, blah, blah, blah. So training the animals, getting to see a bit of their day in the life. So yeah, I'll use this moment to still do a bit of voiceover and hopefully have some cool shots that will carry people over as I'm talking. So this could work. Like this whole part that I've just been playing seems fine. And then at some point, obviously, they're split up a bit, so it just focuses in on one. But it kind of looks nice in slow motion here, seeing the horse and the rider and the eagle. So this could be the shot. Let's see what the other one was. Oh, and then here it gets a little darker, so it might not be as good. Actually, let's see. Because now we're in like, yeah, the sun went down. It could still look dramatic in a good way. Let's see. It all just depends if the ride looks nice. This looks nice because they're all in a straight line, fairly even. But it is very dark. And they're not going super fast, so it's not like... But they are tightly packed together. Just not a lot of action going on. That's the rub. And it's a super noisy shot, so and I lost focus here. And the eagle's struggling over there. Yeah, so probably this one won't do. But the other one might be the answer. Let's see. Is that the same one? I think it's the same one. Yeah. Okay, I think that's the one. So that becomes our intermission shot. And then what do we got? Just for a refresher. So then we get the homestead one. Then after that we have the final song. This one, maybe I'll pick this one up. Actually, I don't know. Okay, point is, then we lead on to the last two songs, and then a farewell where I already have the shots ready to go, so we're good. All right, boom. I feel like it was a fairly productive stream. Ish. But like I said, I don't feel as bad about not being productive at times with this, because we have shortened the stream hours. So usually now I'm streaming about like what, 3 to 4 hours, 3 to 5 hours. Yeah, 3.5 hours today, right now. So that's a decent bit. Ugh, my pillow. Okay, so what else should we say as we wind down? My cats aren't even here today, so give me a second. There it is. All right, so fun stream. Thank you guys. Let me just recap as I end the one on TikTok. Let's put this over here. Okay, and I'll full screen it. All right, first thing we tested, or in terms of a recap of the good stuff that's happening. One, we've got this new lens, as I mentioned, the 14mm Viltrox lens. F4. So that's the one thing I got to figure out is, will the F4 aperture cause any issues for me the way that I shoot. But now that I'm filming with the Nikon ZR, and now that I know about the whole, dual base ISOs, I should be fine shooting even at like 6400 ISO as needed. And for the most part, for the types of shoots that I'm planning to do with this, it's going to be probably in like broad daylight, outdoors, just getting some environmental shots. So I think the f4 should be fine. And I think the other thing we'll need to test is the focal length, the field of view. Is that good enough for this particular film concept that I'm trying to do? But either ways, I'm very happy with this lens, and it's a new tool in my arsenal, right? Especially for this kind of streaming studio setup here. So that was good. Second thing I mentioned, like I said, 2 of the potential 4 to 5 travels that I was trying to figure out for the next 2 months. 2 of them, the ones that I needed to hear back from, they gave the green light. So there's 2 different film projects, or there's 2 different trips that I'm going to be doing in March and April, which are, it's like the most exciting news that I can't share with you guys. It's like, it's like I'm teasing you guys, but it is like when I'm able to share with you guys about the project, hopefully you guys will be excited with me for, just the opportunity itself. So I do feel more like a proper filmmaker, or a proper, I feel more like I'm actually in that industry now. So good news there. The Norway trip, most likely I'm going to postpone, so I'll have to send an email to the guy because I haven't heard back from him just yet. But most likely I will try to do a dog sledding trip, definitely in the wintertime, obviously. But he mentioned he has a trip in May for like Svalbard, where you might be able to see the polar bears and stuff like that. Not up close, right? And like, but yeah, the point is that could be a fun trip, especially if you go on a sled dog for that experience. So hopefully maybe that could be still something in May. I'm slowly building up all the gear necessary to do the live streaming IRL. So that hasn't changed. I'm pretty excited about that. I've got, there's a 3D company that I've been chatting with. And so I think I'm going to pull the trigger with working with them to design the actual flight case, like a Pelican or a Nanook case, in which the Rodecaster and a few other the parts that I need to do, like the video switching and all that, that's going to live inside the case. So when I start traveling, it'll be compact enough and I can safely, confidently travel with it in check-in or carry-on, whichever one, based on my needs. And then shout out to Cyronius in the chat, but he's been helping me out, and possibly he might be able to help me create one of the other missing pieces tech-wise that I need to do the IRL streams, which is that Bella box encoding concept with like the modem or the router to get the internet as needed from cell coverage. So that's a missing piece, and it looks like we might move forward with that. And then the Starlink, that's one of those like that's like the last piece, the last mile, just because Starlink is not available in Dubai. So I'll have to figure out how to get it, whether once I go on a trip or once it's figured out, maybe I can purchase one at that destination country. I don't know yet. That's a missing piece as well. Yeah, so anyways, those are just the quick updates. Good stream. Thank you guys for being here. I will now have a late dinner. Today's Monday. Happy Monday, guys. I will be streaming Monday. I have a photo shoot on Wednesday, but I think that's in the afternoon. So I should be streaming the next 4 days, like throughout the rest of the week. So you should be able to see me roughly the same time that I started today, around 7 to 8 p.m. my time. I'm trying to condense the hours, but make it a bit more engaging at the same time. So, all right. Anything else? Any last words? No? Oh yeah, and like I said, check out my YouTube channel for anyone who hasn't already. But specifically on YouTube, check out my most recent video from Behind the Lens series. Actually, the last thing I'll mention about this, let me just see, because I have it all somewhere here. Let me see here. I can share with you guys what exactly I've been in terms of the topics. Okay, so in terms of the topics, I mentioned obviously I've done the episode 1 Then I talk about in the next episode, which you will see on Wednesday. So Wednesday, 6 p.m. my time, I'll be releasing the next video of my Behind the Lens series. And this one is about, I titled it The Sunset That Changed Everything. And it's basically about that first moment when I had that epiphany that I wanted to be a photographer, that I wanted to capture properly the moments that I see when I travel. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. It's a bit of a story time, if you will. Then I've got a video, which is like, it's talking, basically I'm showing a feature of the Nikon Z6 III. So I'm making a few videos about the Nikon Z6 III. And as part of that, I wanted to find a way to showcase the feature without it feeling too commercially. Like I like saying like, hey guys, here's the Nikon Z6 III. It's got this feature, which is so amazing. Don't you agree, guys? Look at the quality. Amazing, right? I didn't want to do one of those videos. So I made it more a talking piece where I talk about the importance of embracing the selfie mode. So that one is called Embrace the Selfie. And it's basically just me talking about how being comfortable in front of the camera has been a huge evolution in terms of my ability to be a creator and to be engaging and to find people who support me. But it's a huge thing for me because like I'm not natively comfortable. I'm not inherently or whatever comfortable being in front of the camera. And so this is obviously me also talking about the value of the Z6 III having that flip screen mode, right? Same thing with the ZR, right? But with the Z6 III, that was the first of those mirrorless in the Z series that did that for the kind of camera I'm using. So yeah, so that one, keep that in mind, guys. That should be coming out as well. And then I did a few others around, like shooting low light and like the value of that kind of thing. I talk about, I mentioned this concept of like not calling myself a photographer and realizing what your deeper passions are in life. So that way you don't inhibit yourself, or like you want to expand your horizons. And the moment you give yourself a label, like being a photographer, it could end up restricting your ability to pursue other tangential hobbies because you feel like you're betraying this label of being a photographer, let's say. And I've seen that with a lot of other photographers in Dubai, for example, or just like fellow creators where they resist change because they view themselves under one identity, and that can be damaging as a creator. So I make a video on that. Yeah, so anyways, there's a bunch of these things that I've been filming behind the scenes, guys, including one about AI and like my thoughts around it. I talk about some of my travel mantras. So those are all lined up, and I'm excited for you guys to start watching them. Most likely I'll be posting it every week and just making that a thing. It's just like a weekly quick episode, 3 to 5 minutes, something like that, sharing my thoughts on the world and whatever else. So, okay, I need to feed my cats as well. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, one of them is going a little bit rowdy, so I know what that means. It is feeding time, as you can see. Yes, Nala? Okay, so she's giving the cue. Thank you guys for a fun stream. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. So, cheers. Yeah,